Welcome out, gamers and gamettes, to another RGL.GG Invite Highlander cast. We are nearing the end of Season 23. It is the lower bracket finals, and there are only 3 teams left in the season, the bottom 2 of which are going to play net tonight to find out who comes third and who will move on to face Witness Gaming in the grand finals. We are, of course, watching the number 1 seeded Dumb Kids versus number 4 Run It Back. And I am Alto, joined by Exile to my side, Dolphin behind the camera, as always. Exile, how you doing tonight?
I'm excited for this match to be played. I mean, this is going to probably one of the best matches to be watched this season, so I hope everyone enjoys watching this lower bracket finals. Rib versus, what are they called? Dumb Kids? Yeah, that's correct, Dumb Kids. I've been watching these teams play the whole season, and honestly, both teams are super great. Rib coming out of the woodworks, being able to be very strong against DK, actually, and honestly, as contenders for second place this season, even into Grand, I want to see what both these teams can do if Dumb Kids can kind of keep that kind of aggression going, deny them that potential of Grand, or Rib can kind of sweep out here and manage to beat DK in this best of 3 and play against Witness Gaming in the finals. I'm pretty excited, Alto. How about you?
As am I. I think we should probably go into the rosters real quick, because I think if you've had your ear to the ground and invite, there will be a change tonight that's pretty meaningful between the teams. So, starting out on Dumb Kids, it will be Triple on Scout, Billy Boy on Soldier, Fuzzy on Pyro, Pickles coming in on Demo instead of Crump tonight, Took on Heavy, Carson on Engineer, Blake on Medic, Brian on Sniper, and Jacob on Spy.
Yeah, these are some pretty solid lineups here for the Dumb Kids. Yeah, Pickles being on Demo instead of Crump. Crump not being able to play the match here is going to be a big hindrance for the Dumb Kids, but Pickles actually is pretty good on Demo. They've played Demo previously in Invite Highlander and also in Sixes. So with that being said, I think it's still going to be a great lineup for this match going into it. Run It Back's roster, here we have pretty much the same roster they've had the whole season, which is Berto on Scout, Danmar on Soldier, Fungus Bungus on Pyro, Zebra on Demo, Chalk on Heavy, Ness on NG, Pibble on Medic, Mujet on Sniper, and Cosmic SR on Spy. And with this lineup that Rib has, honestly, it looks pretty strong to me. I mean, they have star players like Mujet, who's previously placed an invite, even made it to Grands before. And I think with the help of Mujet and the rest of the team, I can see Run It Back actually giving a very, very good match today as we watch it.
Yeah, and I think, between the matches we've seen between these two teams before, both of these teams have been what Zag and I lovingly refer to as high variance, right? Meaning that, regardless of what their average skill level is, you could see them significantly higher than that or significantly lower. And whenever you have teams like that play, very big upset possibilities, you could have a lot of kind of differences between rounds. And both of these teams have shown that level of variance. I think Pickles coming in on Demo, while solid body of work all to her own, is not the equal of Crump ultimately. Hard to Crump he's currently the reigning Invite Demo champion. So in that sense, anyone you get is going to be a step down. Plus, hasn't, been with the team, not going to be someone who's probably doing a lot of the calling. So I think it opens up a window for Rib to really come out and shock everyone here that, may not have been there had Crump been playing, given the results of their round 1 matchup. But looking at this right off the bat, I've got to be looking a lot towards Zebra, right? As needing to be able to take advantage of the fact that there is, a bit of an advantage to be had here.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, with the DK roster, a lot of them have been playing together for the previous season in Season 22 when they won Highlander with Crump, like you said. So lacking that also leader of Crump and their one of their main callers, and on the role of Demo, which is very, very important. They're going to be missing a lot here. So like you said, Zebra on Demo against Pickles. Now, that's a matchup we're not really too sure of. I mean, Zebra and Pickles are both very good on Demo in their own right. But again, Zebra has been playing with their team for pretty much the entire season, obviously, right? So they're going to have a lot more cohesion there. So Zebra is going to be the one to watch too. But again, yeah, we can't really say much else about these two teams in terms of, their players missing, but also like the potential they have of winning. I think it's anyone's games here. So going into the first map, we are going to Product as our first match in this map of this best of 3, and this is going to be an exciting one. DK had a very strong showing on Product against teams like Witness Gaming in the regular season, where they were able to win out the match against Witness Gaming 4-3 and almost beating them in their Product match in the upper brackets 3-4. So for the first pick being Product, it's going to be on DK to kind of showcase their strength and potential on the map against Rib. but Rib will also have to showcase kind of that stuff they've been learning through the season together as a team and see if they can push a win against the team of DK.
Yeah, I mean, just taking a look at it right now, it's. I think Zach and I have talked previously on what happens. It's the map picks end up being very simple when you have what we'd consider a Koth team versus a stopwatch team. When you have two Koth teams here, it ends up being a little bit more interesting because both of these teams, I think, are much more at home on the Koth. That said, it looks like Rib maybe leaning a little bit more into the stopwatch side of things. I think they had a pretty decent showing on Vigil last week, or 2 weeks ago, I guess, when they played in the first round of playoffs. They ended up losing to DK 2-1, but had the opportunity to take that. There's timelines where they could. They end up getting the double stopwatch anyway. I think the what map went? Proot went unpicked here, which between these two teams is very interesting. I think DK taking the upward at the end is pretty fascinating. Their Proot match did go 4-3 in the regular season, so that might be why. But if I'm Witness Gaming looking at this, I'm very interested in these map pick bans.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the first ban being Asheville from Rib makes sense. I mean, Asheville's a very strong map for DK, so getting that map out of the pool makes a lot of sense. But then Dumb Kids banning Steel, I mean, Rib actually had a very good showing against my team on Steel. They had 2 Otis on that map, being we were the team kind of picking that map into playoffs. And they actually did really well on it. So I think DK, knowing that Steel is one of those coin flippy maps and just banning it for upright, is just going to eliminate that potential of that coin flip going into the side of the other team. So that's a good ban here. Yeah, pick product. It's going to be one Koth here. Proot going through. I think DK didn't ban Proot because they knew that they on Koth, they want to be that Koth team. They want to represent Koth in their picks. And I think Rib knows, if Proot does end up going on the side of DK's pick, that's going to be benefiting them because of that match in regular season being so close. But not being picked, I think that both teams kind of just know that their payloads are going to be a little bit better. So it is going to go to Vigil and Upward. And these 3 map picks can really go either way, but I think it's going to benefit potentially on the side of Rib. But I think Rib is a very strong payload team as well. And, obviously with a good sniper and, a strong demo, it's going to be very, very possible that they are able to just win out on these payload maps. But who knows? It might just end at Vigil. If Rib is able to win on Vigil and Product, it just could end right there, right? But again, the same thing can be said for Dumb Kids. So into this match, I mean, I'm excited to see how Product goes. And that's going to be kind of one of the deciding factors of how we expect this match to kind of play out. And I think for my prediction of this match, I think if Dumb Kids is able to win on Product, then I think they have the potential of just winning out the whole thing. Like a very high chance of just winning it out. But if Rib can somehow win on Product, that's going to change the whole flow of the game. And I'm kind of excited to see this as the first map, how it goes.
Yeah, I like that you have the kind of game mode switch afterward, because it means that it's a little bit more of an easy reset, right? If you play a stopwatch and then go right into another one, the gears in your head are kind of turning in the same direction, whereas switching is going to make them change. I do think it's interesting that the first time these two teams played it was on Proot. Next time they played on Asheville. This time they're playing on Product, so we're kind of getting the full slate of Koths between them. Proot was very close. Asheville was fairly in Rib's favor. So I think obviously that's going to explain that ban. And they're going to try their luck on Product. If I'm Rib, I'm probably not, putting too much stock into whether or not I can win on Product. I think even with them missing Crump, you're going to need Muja to basically have the performance of a lifetime if you really want to show up on Product and take. I think a lot of the times when you're a lower seed going into the higher seed, you kind of have to realize that it's very likely that first map just ends up being the upper seed tax and it's the back 2 you want to win on. And I think they've set themselves up well for that with the double stopwatch. If they win on Vigil, I think they can get a lot of momentum going forward, and then to carry that into Upward. Obviously going into Brian on any map is never a fun time. Something like an Upward, right, where he could potentially take over the game is definitely scary. But, you're going to have to overcome some hurdles if you want to be the 4 seed upsetting the 1 seed. But we are live right now. It will be DK on blue, Rib on red.
Yep, first round of the first map of this best of 3 lower bracket finals. Whoever wins this match will be going to grand finals against Witness Gaming. As the mid starts here, we see an aggressive bomb coming out of Damar onto the other team's Clicker. Rib walking it up onto Dogbread, but initially getting a pick from Billy Boy onto Zebra, and Pibble actually. So Rib is kind of just getting mowed down. And Tuka coming in through connecting, gets 3 kills by himself pretty much. and it looks like all of Dumb Kids are able to just walk through afterwards. Looks like they played pretty passive on that mid and just played to react on what Rib was doing, and Rib ended up just taking the aggressive stance and just getting kind of crushed by it. But again, the first mid being won by DK, strong start, and they're gonna have full ad here as Pibble actually did end up dying in that mid. So let's see what Blake and his team can do with this full Uber.
Yep, gotta tip my hat to Bry there on that mid. Got bombed by Danmar right off the bat. Surfed the rocket from Cliff onto Rock. Caught an arrow, kept sniping like nothing had changed. But the sack coming out will get the force out of Flip. They're gonna lose a number of bodies for it. Really no kills going over in their favor, but they're able to get the force out. Throws ad in favor of Pibble, about all you can look for. And Chalk finds his way in behind, takes out Billy Blake and Fuzzy. You thought Tuka's play was big. Chalk showing up big there, but Brian finds Pibble anyway, walking out of main. Oh, these medics have been tortured already, and we're barely a minute in.
Yep, Chalk finding himself a nice 3k through connector. Pibble accidentally responding with a kill themselves for Brian onto the medic, but Rib is able to recap the midpoint as they start their first defense on the map with a little bit of disad, but not basically even Ubers. Blake and Pibble are going to have to try and get this Uber upbuilt to 100% as Rib setting up for their defense here. Pretty passive behind Rock, but DK already starting the push here. Billy Boy bombing behind onto Cliff. Danmar looking for the response here, bombing onto the other team's China as he's spamming down onto the side of DK. Brian dies immediately to Mujet, and then Mujet kills Fuzzy on the exit. Danmar dying, but Rib actually getting out with more kills there than deaths. 4 kills for the side of Rib as they continue to hold this midpoint. And just like that, it looks like Rib's more on the offense here and actually going to be having more of an advantage on this time versus DK. With the same amount of Uber, let's see how this Uber comes out in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, should be, we're that even right now, so an exchange going to be likely. Jacob will be getting caught out by Chalk, but Brian opening up onto Z. Gonna add a lot of space for this Uber to work forward. Fungus going down next means no Pyro to deny the Uber. Chalk's getting forced out of connector as the red Uber popped out. Changed on both sides. Mujet able to pick up Fuzz, but the better class is still on the side of DK. Billy Boy gonna go in for a bit of a short jump right there, but more kills onto Cosmic and Danmar. Because the bodies able to defend this point are shrinking. 2K up low. But Jacob onto Mujet. Chalk gonna go down next. Pickles goes down, but it may not be enough. Brian with Pibble again!
Brian with a great shot onto Pibble there as Pibble is trying to leave. I mean, Rib was holding that pretty well. Mujet was able to find the picks in the post-fight of that Uber, but once the fight slowed a little bit down, DK took the aggression and Jacob finding the pick onto Mujet and then eventually getting Pibble killed as well for Brian. So DK kind of turning the tables onto this first round here. They're going to have advantage here, and with a minute and 40 seconds, it's going to be on the side of Rip to see how they can try to retake this point here. 9 versus 9, they're going to start the next fight as Zebra walks forward. All of DK baiting in main, trying to get this Uber as much as possible, but Rip tries to capitalize on that, trying to get some captain. Billy with bombing, huge bomb on Fungus. Bungus does get the pick. Lots of damage in through main as well as Jacob actually does kill Pibble as well. So Blake doesn't have to use here, and the Uber ad will still be for the side of DK. Bomb coming in from Danmar into the side of DK's main here. Does not find anything though as Cosmic tries to potentially find a stab or a kill there. Doesn't get anything. So DK is going to be able to just stabilize here with that advantage. Berto ends up dying. Ness with the follow-up onto Jacob. Killing Jacob here is very valuable, and Tuka being dead as well. Rib will have to decide in the next minute here what they can do to try to even out these Ubers.
Yeah, I mean, you know you're looking at high-level invite gameplay. You see the team with the point sacking in on the enemy team's medic, and they managed to get that kill onto Pibble. Counter-sack's coming back in now. They will get the Uber out of Blake almost instantly. Zebra and Danmar both going to go down for that. Cosmic caught out as well, but all you can really ask for in the sack is that immediate Uber for it. Pibble now on 55, coming up on 60%, but they're running out of time. Billy Boy finds a really good off-timing kill onto Mujet, not going to be up for this push that has to comes out, and with only 30 seconds left, you cannot wait for your sniper to respawn. They catch Billy Boy out on China. Good to have that, you know, annoying soldier taken out of the way, but they're nowhere near point.
Yep, Ubers are going to be built for the side of Rib here. Pibble will have a little bit of advantage here, however, Danmar gets picked up immediately by Brian. As Pibble's Uber's about to reach 100%, Mujet does end up dying to Sniper SVS here from Brian. However, with the Uber not being popped yet, they're going to try and cap for the side of Rib without using. With players alive on side DK, they will try to respond with a little bit of aggression here. Chalk making it to crates, trying to get some cap time. However, no one's on cap. Zebra dies so straight pipe. Chalk dying as well. No Uber's been popped for the side of Rib here. They have to capture or it's going to be the end of the round for them. Uber's being popped onto Berto, but Blake does end up getting, so they lost their chance with that advantage. Danmar getting headshot by Brian. Brian is going crazy so far in this fight. Mujet killing Carson, but it doesn't matter. DK is able to build Uber there against their full disad and able to hold the point is crazy work. However, that being said, DK does secure the first round here in this first map. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities for Rip to potentially use there, but honestly, they just didn't end up using that ad that they had, so I wonder what their comms kind of sounded like there, but yeah, crazy round for DK.
Yeah, too many people just dying at too many inopportune times on Rib right now. You know, even with Pickles, unfortunately, on the bottom of the scoreboard, the power classes you're looking at, Brian and Duke, are really stepping up to help, okay, you know, give her some time to get set up. Shock gonna be going on right off the bat. Danmar not finding anything on the bomb either. It has been so many kills in favor of DK. They will pick up Pickles, but Murdo and Mujit gonna be going next, meaning that it is not but a symbolic demo kill. Brian finding Pibble on the back out again keeps happening. And it means that the full ad is going to be in Blake's favor. You know, we've been seeing very good sacks out of the side of Rip, but if the only thing good is your sacks, that means you never have the point.
This is a pretty strong showing for Brian. I mean, he's able to kill Pibble almost on every single fight and keeping the advantage for Blake. And Blake's doing a great job staying alive as well. He hasn't actually died to many things on this game so far. So with the ad of DK, Rib was going to be put into the same situation to run before Brian finding a kill off the Fungus Fungus. A sack coming in from Rib onto the side. Oh, but Blake drops Danmar actually, so Ubers are going to be dropped for the side of DK here, and for the side of Rib, that's exactly what you want to happen here. So they're going to have advantage here, pushing out of their spawn, but with DK knowing their medic no longer has Uber, they're going to have to rely on some of their pick classes like Brian and maybe even Jacob to try and stabilize this fight for them. And I mean, Brian's been doing that so far, so if they can keep that play going, this might be okay for the side of DK, but Rib on the back foot here, coming back in with the advantage, will be able to push into mid. Danmar looking for an early bomb, ends up dying to Carson's mini, but still have advantage here. No Ubers in play just yet here, so DK does want to fight. As Billy Boy bombed onto China, maybe going to get onto Pibble and Zebra. They are getting so low behind point. Are they going to die? They do! Busty with the reflect pipe onto both of them. Pickle's getting a great pick onto Pibble as well there, and Rib just crumbling at the seams as that ad basically thrown away. And DK back to their kind of standard hold. Brian staying alive here. They might just try to set up a portal after this.
Yeah, you can't really blame them. And I mean, even with Blake going down, everyone on DK is firing on all cylinders, meaning that it's not enough. They get aggro on Rib. They don't wait for people to get the Uber, and they end up dying behind point. Just as you know, enough damage comes in, a rocket out of Billy Boy, a pipe, a sticky, all coming into the same, leads to a dead medic. That ad means nothing if you don't end up getting the Uber off. And somehow, even with that Uber drop, it's a more dominant round coming out of DK.
Yep, Brian finding the pick on the Fungus at the beginning of this fight, however. Blake decides to use ad coming in from DK. Chalk is the pick and Danmar, so it might have just been a force from Danmar, honestly. But Blake being full HP, I think they just wanted to respond with an Uber ad themselves. Ujet finding some picks at the end of the Uber onto Billy Boy. That's a great start. Rib does come up through Valley as they try to get back onto the point. Brian is alive here to try to take that SVS versus Ujet. There's a lot of spam happening on the side of Ribs. And Zebra getting so low. However, Danmar looking for the bomb onto Brian. He gets the pickle to Brian. This is a great start for Rib. Rib gets onto the side of the point. Birdo capping as much as they can. And honestly, DK realized their sniper is dead. It's basically unfightable, it looks like. No sacks happening here. Actually, there is a sack happening here for Pickles and Billy when they get the force onto Pibble. As Rib has not finished the cap yet, with no more Uber and force. Blake actually ends up dying.
So good from Cosmic, you know, haven't said their name too much, not really having too much of an impact these first two rounds, but able to get the kill onto Blake as he's backing up. The sack comes out of Pibble, meaning that the ad is maintained for Rib right now. Brian, though, opening up onto Zebra, not what you want to see. Neither team has medic here. DK is more than happy to dry push without a demo. They need him to answer back right now.
Yeah, DK getting super aggressive up to this point here. Jacob finding a pick on the Chalk. Carson picking up the kill onto the Cosmic. But there's actually trading the kills happening on both fronts. Tuka getting so aggressive onto the point into their main here. Pushing out the side of Rib. With 10 seconds left, Brian was able to kill Pibble. And Carson gets 2 more picks onto Mujet and Ness. Great kills from Carson here. As Rib is completely wiped from that fight. I mean, DK has no actual threat of getting recapped on. Zebra tries to bomb to the point, but it's just not met with much success there as he dies 2 over DK. I mean, wow, DK is showing so much aggression here, and this is kind of what I was saying, and you were talking about this as well. They're such a good COD team, and Rib's gonna have to try and change something up for this next half as we are reaching the first half of the best of 3 map 1. Man, DK is so strong. Brian is such a great sniper on a map like Product. I mean, what can you really do against a guy like that? He just hits every shot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to pin it on any one person. I think a couple of the deaths from Pibble were avoidable. A couple of points where, like, you're lingering in the sightline too long. If you're a medic and you're running out of main on Product to get back into the main spawn exit, Once you kind of pass the wall of house, you can take a step to the right and break that sight line from point going out to main. And people, I'm pretty sure, died twice because they didn't do that specifically, which, you know, is it a slip up? Yes. Do I think it would have really changed the round? Hard to say. The second one, definitely not. First round, maybe they've got a chance, but you know, you take the stats up. Brian's going 19-4. Your spy is going 1-11. Your demo, who, you know, you're kind of looking at as, oh well, you know, Crump's not here. Zebra may have an easier matchup. Still going 3-9. Fungus is 0-10. I mean, some truly heinous KDs on the side of Rib right now. Chalk doing the best that he can. Ness and Muja not having bad games. I have Proto as well, but ultimately, you know, when everyone on DK is firing on all cylinders, it is very difficult to get anything going. And, you know, Cosmic's a player Zag and I think, called out when these two teams played the last time. Really didn't have any impact on the Koth. We felt like, you know, yes, the one kills a med pick, but you're still going 1-11. Jacob wasn't particularly solid, but was finding kills, was creating distractions. Felt like you didn't have that coming in. Danmar doing his best to make space. 14 deaths in 2 rounds is impressive in its own right, but when it feels like Rib is constantly playing 8v9 between, you know, Brian, Jacob, or just, you know, random flank kills from Billy Boy or, you know, or Pickles. Like, someone's always dead, so Danmar's always having to sack his life to try to, you know, gain any space for people to work on, and the rest of the team is just not able to compete.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing. I mean, like, for Rib to get into these kind of dry fights without point control, they're going to have to sack that soldier to create that initial space. They're going to have maybe Cosmic SR kind of speed up the push for them, call what he sees from maybe their cliff or their house, and try to get his team and his combo to speed up after he makes those calls. But losing those players so quickly, making it that 8v9, even to 7v9 based on who gets headshot immediately to Brian. I mean, there were a lot of times like Fungus Bungus was just getting headshot on repeat when he was walking out of cliff, you know, out of their spawn. So without a pyro, you know, without a soldier, without a spy, it's really just impossible for the combo of Rib to do anything, right? Against, you know, even just a step in for Pickles being in this match. Like, realistically, all it comes down to is if we just play it slow with the picks, we just really got to make sure that Rib can't walk forward onto that point, right? And Brian's staying alive. He's not really even dying to Mujet that much. The only time he's dying is to sometimes Danmar is able to get that bomb off, and it's pretty successful. But even without that, I mean, there's too much forward pressure from DK, from like Jacob and, you know, Billy Boy and Brian. So like Rib's going to have a very hard time even into the next half of what to do, problem solving, how to fix this. It's going to be very much impossible in my opinion. But it, you know, if Cosmic's able to step up, like you were saying about you and Zyron saying like, oh, he needs to become that player that Rib needs. If he's able to step up into this second half, then we definitely have a game going forward. If he can find his picks, find those plays with maybe Danmar's bombs and Zebra walking forward, we can definitely kind of turn the side of that in that realm. But it's going to be very hard for the side of Rip to kind of find the answers moving forward.
Yeah, and to, you know, something like Cosmic's credit, right? I think a lot of enabling your spy to succeed means staying alive, keeping players up to be providing pressure that your spy can take advantage of, right? Zebra, it feels like almost any time something goes right for Rib, Zebra gets domed. And when you're doing that, when there's no demo, there's so much pressure that's being taken off of the other team that now you can kind of use the same kind of mental power you were using to dodge stickies, weave between spams, now probably going to spy checking more often than not. Your pyro doesn't have to reflect anything, they can just look behind. You know, everyone's full HP, your medic doesn't have to worry about beaming people, can be looking behind more. It all flows into each other, right? It's one of the beautiful things about Highlander, how one person, you know, how all the classes intersect like that. So, same thing with Danmar, right? When you're constantly losing players, you can't have a soldier that just sits passive. It looks like we do have a pause. I'm not sure what's going on. Dolphin, do we know?
Yeah, I'm not too sure what's going on either here. But yeah, I mean, going to the next mid, I mean, really it comes down to if Rib can actually win out those mids, and that's the first thing they need to kind of figure out. Once the mids are won, what's our next step? And I think the servers are going to be fixed here in a second. We're going to go live. Alti, do you see anything on your side? I don't see anything yet.
No, I'm still all paused here, so we will see. What may have happened is they may have gone live, and then we're coming in with the pause somewhat into the round.
I think so as well. I think that's what's happening. So we're going to get a brief intermission for that as well. Yeah, but like I kind of was saying before that it's going to be on Riv to kind of win out the mids because the mids look pretty much DK sided, so we can somehow whittle out a little bit of an even mid for Rib and maybe win out that slow fight. It's possible for Rib to win the mid. I think we're going now here, but the game's not live. But yeah, I think Rib still can make something happen in this match. It's only third round. I mean, Rib can totally bring it back and even it out the rounds here. But you know, there's going to be a lot of push and shove here. But even if they don't get a win on product, remember it's still double payload as their second and third map. So there's so much potential for Rib still.
Yeah, and you know, the Ribs defense, right? When they played DK on Fruit, they went down 3-0 before tying it back to 3-3 and narrowly losing the last round, I should say. So this is a team that once they get a little bit of momentum, they can really take it a long way. That said, we are going to be live in the second half here. Already 2-0 for DK. They managed to pull the 2 out here. We're going into Vigil, and Rib season is suddenly looking pretty questionable.
Yep, as the mid starts, Mujet actually finding the pick onto Carson here. Oh, but Pickles finds the Zebra and Fungus pick immediately. Great placement of stickies there, and Rib just completely almost wiping there. They find a little bit of kills there from Billy Boy, Pickles, and Carson, but with Brian still alive, I mean, DK is definitely winnable for them as Birdo tries to get to the point. Brian killing Mujet. Chalk, even though killing Tuca, is not able to stay in here, as Brian is able to just stand on rock with the sniper pick and just hold ground as much as he can. Rib's gonna have to meet somewhere passive, maybe just before they peek Brian and set up a push here. And Pibble did live this time, so it's gonna be even Ubers for both teams. So we should expect an exchange of Uber happening very quickly here.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, definitely the best mid we've seen out of Rib thus far. They pretty much went kill for the most part, but the tide just gradually favored Rib. And Mujet opening up in the Brian's gonna spell good things. As you mentioned, Pibble did survive with Uber, so has now likely to see an exchange come out, and we do. Lots of buildings going down. That's about it thus far in the Uber. But kills already favored. Mujet finds Blake right off of the Uber fade. That should be quite a solid fight win. But Billy Boy coming in will manage to pick up that, or you know, the damage helped pick up Damar and Zebra. So it's not settled quite yet. But none of the damage on Rib is going to stick. All of it sticks on DK. Mujet onto 2 should mean the cap goes through eventually. I think they're waiting just for a few spawns before finalizing that cap.
Mujet finding the picks he needed the most for his team there onto Brian and onto Blake. So these are great picks from Mujet. I mean, this is the tempo shift we needed for Rib here. I mean, with a successful exchange, no one dying until the end of the exchange, and a pick on the Brian and Blake, this is exactly what Rib wants here. However, the push starts, Pickles and Billy Boy. Look at the sack onto Pibble. Pibble living with 1 HP, but this gets picked up by Tuca. Rib crumbling at the seams here as Billy Boy and Jacob are the only people that are dead, so DK is actually able to drive fight right after the sack. Mujet is dead here as well, so Brian has free reign to snipe anywhere he wants to. He gets to pick onto Zebra. Rib is completely wiped now, and it looks like the flank of Rib are backing up with their hands between their legs here as they are going to spawn, and DK successful recapture of the point. I mean, DK is so quick with their decision making there, turning the sack into a push and recapping in the matter of 30 seconds. I mean, that's exactly what you want to see from the second seeded team. Brian picking up a kill onto Mujet once again here, so no sniper for Rib, as Mujet is one of those most valuable picks for the side of DK here, and a sack comes in for Rib. Will they be able to get Blake though? It doesn't look like they do, as Blake actually is 150 HP, so the kills didn't go onto Blake. It actually might have just went on to actually Tuca and Fuzzy, which I'm surprised they got those kills, but yeah, Blake able to hold that Uber here, so Rib has to get the Uber and then set up their next push.
Yeah, not quite the primary sack targets you would think, but, you know, how the sack turns out is how the sack turns out. Speaking of, though, the sack from, as you said, DK was really solid. Picked off 2 kills before they even got any damage onto Pibble. Brian on a 7K. The Uber will be forced out. I think they may have sensed that they might have had a kill end up on Pibble. Billy Boy coming in from the side almost gets them, but Pibble will survive for now. Almost all of the kills, though, going over in favor of DK. And Rib's a team that I feel like we've casted enough now that, to me, it feels like their greatest enemy is when they're not moving. Like, when they're actively pushing, dry fighting, forward holding, they look fine. The second they stay still, things go poorly. People start getting picked off, people start dying. And, you know, they're walking up right now. Cosmic's going to go down, but they have a lot of point presence already. They're forcing everyone back. Pickle's forced to play passive in main. Damar going over her head, gonna take her out with the wall shot. And things looking
lots of kills happening. Yeah, lots of kills happening for the side of DK here. Actually picking up the kill on Chalk, Damar, Birdo, and Mujet dying as well. But Brian's dead too. Blake killing Mujet. I mean, that's exactly what Blake is good at, man. Taking those SVSs against the snipers. Blake's been there many times before. Yeah, Pibble pops are dead actually, and Blake with getting the 100% Uber here, it's gonna be another round for the side of DK. I mean, there's no response for Rib there. They lost a lot of numbers there. They lost their medic, and Blake's playing well.
winning the mid V sniper. Pack it up. Take me to Vigil. I've seen enough.
Yeah, I feel like Rib they're gonna have to start using these Ubers. I mean, like, they have 100%, but they're not exchanging. I really need to know what the reason for that being is, but maybe it's just the lack of calling. But I feel like Rib this match is playing so much more fearful than they have in the previous matches I've watched. But as the 4th mid starts for both of these teams here, Rib, look at this play kind of fast here actually with the initiation coming out of Damar onto China, and both teams responding the exact same way. Rejet dying to Billy Boy, and Damar fighting. Oh my god, the bomb onto Pickles and Blake, getting both the kills. And it's just Fuzzy and Carson alive. Carson's the last player alive here. Pibble alive with 140. What a great mid for the side of Rib. Pibble is able to stay alive, even with Mujet dying immediately. They're able to wipe DK here. So that's a great start for Rib in this round here. But as we saw in the last round, the repush from DK is the scariest thing for Rib. And Rib kind of playing on the passive approach, not really doing much peeking. They got to find some sort of way of denying them from walking up here. But great mid for the side of Rib. I like to see that from them in this 4th round.
Yeah, when Rib's doing well, Danmar's in the middle of everything, and he gets his own, nukes out on the mid, finds Jacob right here. He's continuing to go well for him, and if he can stay alive, continue finding the right spot. Mujet onto Bryant, gonna open up a lot. Pickles going down as well. Sack attempts coming in. The Bullkites into house will survive, not needing to use that Uber. So things looking up right now. Mid-fight win, add, maintain. Should be a good minute off the clock at least before the Uber comes out from the side of DK. Blake still building that up on the back of his own grass.
Yep, they'll be able to keep that 100% Ubers still, so Ubers are going to be evening out here for both teams, and with Rib still controlling the point here, I mean, a minute off the clock's not bad. I mean, we have both snipers alive, everyone's up. Actually, as I said, Mujet kills Brian with the head count to Fuzzy as well, and it looks like DK wants to look for the exchange. I mean, they're kind of forced to, as they do take the exchange through Pocket, just with Triple and Pickles. But remember, Mujet is alive, so they're going to have to find a kill on the sniper soon, or just wait for Brian to respawn to take that fight onto Mujet again. Howard Damar gets 2 onto Blake. Oh, what a great bomb coming out of Damar. Damar is activating in this match so well. Brian is alive here for side DK, but with Blake being dead and Pickles, it doesn't seem like DK wants to do much push here, as they kind of just run away. But Brian actually does maybe want to try to look for more, but we'll see it in the next couple of seconds. He actually does peek their value. He dies to Mujet. Great shot from Mujet. He does the taunt. Oh, the disrespect, but Mujet playing great this round so far and keeping his team in the game.
Yeah, I mean, a cornered Rib is the most dangerous Rib. Backs against the wall, they've got nowhere else to go. But forward, Cosmic fighting Brian. He's not been allowed to play the game at all thus far this round. Died almost instantly every single time he walks up. Triple hit up low, will barely survive. Billy Boy over the top, gonna getting hit up, finds the pack on Cliff. Zebra kills Pickles on the walk-in. And this looks like the Rib that, we've been expecting thus far. Damar's going to get taken on the back line, but other kills coming in on the front. Cosmic onto Brian again!
Oh my god, that's so tilting for Brian, getting stabbed twice in a row and not able to win the SVS here. I mean, this is kind of the things you want to do against DK, is tilt their sniper, and then it tilts the rest of their team here. So Rib, I see them hiding behind Rock here. They should be playing a bit more forward even when the sniper's dead, but the exchange does end up happening for both teams here. DK has their sniper rolling out here. He does get the pocket safely, so DK is going to be playing an even footing fight against Rib. However, with the kill onto the other team's demo, or DK's demo with a great bomb. It's going to look great for Rib here, actually killing Triple, and everyone's just playing pretty passive on the side of Rib, but all that DK needs to do is just get on the point, but DK knows that as they respond, or Rib knows that as they get onto the point, deny all the players trying to cap, and that's the first round. One for Rib in this first map. I mean, that was a great showing. DK didn't even cap, did they?
How many times have you seen a team who's down 0-3 pull out a perfect round?
I don't know. I don't even think I have.
Backs against the wall, I guess, is exactly where Rib wants to. We'll see if they can keep it up. I mean, Brian spent more time dead than alive that round. I'm fairly certain. Because that round pretty much was flawless from them. Billy Boy coming in the main side this time, gonna get, finds Pibble and Berto right off the bat. Zebra reflex pipe, all of that momentum being shoved into the trash can. They're not gonna find Blake. Pibble goes down. That is such a momentum killer.
Damar actually found the kill onto Brian immediately on the mid, but as that happened, the side of Rib's combo and the rest of Rib just kind of blew up immediately to the side of Jacob and Billy's bomb, which became basically the tempo loss of Rib. But remember, it's still mid-round here. Brian doing the Cosmic again, So that's a great start. And actually, Pickle dying to Birdo, so we have a little bit of aggression for the side of Rib to start here. However, Billywood gets onto Pibble, does not find the kill. Tuka ends up dying as well, and an Uber gets forced by Blake. But with that Uber being forced, there's nothing for DK to even play off here. Mujet being fought by Triple. Will Triple get the pick on the Mujet here? No, he does not. As Mujet and Damar help each other out there and help Mujet live. And for the side of DK, it's not looking good for them already. So Rib is walking forward with advantage and 3 picks. I mean, they're just going to be able to recap this point, but maybe with the side of DK, looking for a sack potential, maybe looking for a drive fight, they might be able to deny it. Damar looking for the bomb and does not get it. And Bryant is still alive. This is not looking good already.
Yeah, the point will come through, but they're already dropped 2 players capping. Mujet will find one onto Fuzzy, but Birdo and Ness and Funk is all going to be traded. Luke is so far forward on point, he forces the Uber. They're going to start equalizing on some of these kills, but they're losing the Uber advantage. Brian's still on Rock anyway. Pibble in his scopes goes for Chalk. Pibble will escape safely here. That point cap is very short-lived. So there's nothing other than really to push the Uber ad even further into Blake's favor. And now the forward hold's getting set up.
Actually, Rib's getting out clipped pretty steeply. However, Brian gets the pick on the Fung and looking for more. Mujet's already headshot. Brian is sitting inside of Rib's main. But Billywood looks for the response as well, tries to bomb him, and they're already down 3 for the side of Rib. They are going to stay on clip, though, and kind of play slow. And Jacob's calling it the entire time. Jacob slithered his way through behind the cliff of Rib, and you just called China. And he actually finds the stab onto 2. Jacob finding Fungus and Zebra on that dry fight. What a great start for DK. I mean, he was looking for both, and he found both. However, Mujet dying 2 to Billy Boy. Billy Boy finding his 1. Damar with the trade. I mean, Rib, they started that push down 2, and they just kept crumbling and crumbling. And Pibble living, though, so the Ubers will even out soon here. But DK have a minute over the time of Rib, and Rib's getting quite nervous here, I can tell.
Yeah, they're just now taking clip control. Pibble coming up on Uber. Uber catches the Rap Assassin ball and a pipe. Hit up blow. Zebra sniped out before the Uber can even begin. Brian able to find that. That's exactly what we're talking about untimely deaths. Less than a minute. Now they're probably going to have to wait for the demo to spawn back up. But Mujet and Chalk are the ones bleeding on the side now. Pibble forced back into spawn. Jacob decloaking in Pibble's shadow in the main spawn. And the drop from Pickles onto Pibble. Oh, we had blank on Blake last week. It's Pickles on Pibble this time. And that is probably going to be the nail in the coffin.
That drop was from onto Pibble in main, but Pickles was just on point. So that arced all the way over house onto Pibble and dropping her. I think that was just a direct pipe, which is insane. Brian finding the pick on the Mujet here. The last 15 seconds of DK's capture. They do have advantage. They do end up using. Chalk and Zebra are already dead. As DK run through the Rips Valley into most of their team are just getting completely wiped out by that Uber. Damar getting in the post Uber, doesn't find anything. Tuka living in, getting those kills, and honestly, DK,
one last for Cosmic.
That's another tempo shove. Yeah, Cosmic on the Tuke. That +1. I mean, Cosmic, that game played a lot better than the first 3 rounds, but honestly, I mean, it was such a hard game still for the side of Rib. Like, what could they really have done onto the setup of DK? Like, DK just are so good at this map. I mean, Rib, it was a nice try on that round. That was an impressive round, though. I mean, DK didn't even cap that round that they lost. So, if I'm them, there might be some people that are a little tilted after that round loss. They shouldn't be because they did win the map, but great showing from Rib near the end there. I mean, it was really, honestly, a nice try.
Yeah, I mean, what's funny to me is that a lot of the times when you look at like a round score, right, you can say, oh, well, yeah, it was a 2-0 on payload, but, you know, it was close enough that it probably could have been a 2-1. That was the most, like, clear-cut 4-1 I've ever seen. 4 rounds where one team is significantly better than the other, 1 round where it's all Rib, and that was it. They invested all of their power into 1 round, won it flawlessly, and that was it. So, you know, ultimately, if you're Rib, I don't think you're too put off by that. You're probably not expecting to beat DK on product. You've shown, right, that when you're playing at your best, you can be the better team. And when you're a lower seed on the upper seed's, you know, first map, that's really all I think you can ask for a lot of the times. You know, would it be great to win? Absolutely. But you've shown that, look, the players on Run It Back have the potential to shut out DK from even capping on one of their best maps. The potential's there. All you have to do is achieve it.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think with a better kind of thought going into the entire match, like they could have actually maybe had a closer game. I mean, like DK very hard strung on winning that Koth in their best of 3. They probably practiced and worried about it the whole season up until this point. So Rib had to kind of do some kind of soul searching themselves to see what can we do to win out on Koth against DK on probably their best map product, right? I mean, it's gonna be their best map since they beat Witness Gaming on it already once, and they were close even the last time they played as well. So it really became such a very hard kind of feat for Rib, but it was definitely possible, and we know that they are a strong team, but in the end they weren't successful in finding that answer for themselves. But we now are on Vigil. I mean, Vigil's kind of, for me, the start of the game. I mean, I would love to see how Rib versus DK on Vigil works out. I mean, we know how good Rib, oh my god, how good Rib is on Vigil, sorry. So I'm kind of excited to see how that goes. Yeah, the Ribble. It kind of is Ribble, man. I mean, this is Rib's map. Vigil is their map. I mean, we all know Chalk. This is Chalk's world. We are literally living in his world, his space. We are here, and I want to see if we can predict it true that Chalk never loses on Vigil. I want to see it, but we'll see. I mean, I'm excited for it nonetheless.
Unfortunately, to dispel the magic, they have lost once on Vigil thus far this season. Already 2 DK back in week 1 of playoffs, and it was a 2-1. It was first 2 rounds were split. I think Rib won the first round. They looked fairly solid doing it. And then second round was hard fought, but went in DK's favor. And by the third round, it felt like the wheels kind of fell off, and it was a blowout in favor of DK. So if they can hang on a little bit, not have the wheels fall off, I think things could be going well. I'm not sure if you've been watching any casts recently, XL, but you'll know my big pet peeve on this map is the first hold. I think it's irredeemable dog shit. Every time it happens on cast, you're going to see multiple med drops on the point, and even if they don't, you're going to see someone get killed backing out, and it's going to cost them the second hold. So, as far as I'm concerned, best thing you can do if you're Rib, don't bother with the first hold. It's not worth risking your med for 20 to 30 seconds extra. Just rely on your second hold, please. Please.
Also, I mean, I just finished playing a season in Highlander myself, and I share the exact same sentiment, okay? The first hold is so hard for teams to do in matches. I mean, you just get sacked into your med forces or your med drops, and the team pushing just has so much room to play off of that force or whatever, and it's just so hard to hold at that point, right? The only team that's doing it successfully, from what I've seen, actually, no, because no one's really been holding Vigil successfully on first at all, I don't think. Maybe Witness Gaming in their match that we saw last week, or on this Monday, or last Monday, sorry. But even then, I definitely agree with you. And there's ways of holding Vigil without blowing everyone up and losing second as a cause of that. But I mean, what are we gonna expect here? Are they gonna do the forward hold? I think so. So maybe DK can maybe DK can hold this first point so well that Rib can't even push it. I mean, it's happened in the past. I've seen teams have really good first holds, even in match time. But I kind of agree with you there. Yeah.
And the thing I want to use as a supporting argument to that, right, is that. You remember when Maury started running the lock and load and everyone was like, what is this funny weapon? And then 3 weeks later, it was the most rat thing ever. Every invite demo was running it and it immediately got banned.
Yeah, I'm one of them.
That weapon
I'm one of them also.
had those stats for 7 years. And no one used it. Everyone thought it was trash. So,
what's the last time they changed the stats?
Players? Huh?
Was there not a time they changed the stats of that weapon at some point? I feel like maybe. Oh, 2018. That is a long time ago.
It had been sitting there since maybe it was 6 years at the time, right? It had been sitting there for 5+ years with its current stat block. No one was using it. So TF2 players are very skilled. Do not do them the credit of automatically assuming that they're incredibly smart and are making optimal decisions. It's really, you cannot. There's no evidence that that's been true. I mean, you would say what? I mean, a lot of people get nostalgic for old TF2 players, right? But back then, you were giving 40% beam to heavy. Like, what were we doing?
Yeah, I mean, I personally love healing heavies as medic. I mean, I did end the pregame for one of these teams, but
40?
Yeah, no,
you were giving him 40?
Okay, not 40, but like I was definitely trying to pump as many arrows as possible, man. We've talked about this also before, how satisfying it is just to have your heavy have thousands of HP in a push. I mean, it's pretty good. But in this match, I don't know how applicable it actually is, but because obviously you don't want to give your heavy like 40% HP or 40% heals and stuff like that, but. Down to the lock and load. We got to bring that weapon back. Personally, I think that weapon's the best.
I don't think we do.
Listen, I'll say
Just
if they bring it back, you know where I'll be. I'll be running it every single game. So.
Well, that's reason. If it's bringing you back, that's reason enough.
You're so royal. Keep it big. I agree.
All right, that was really good visual analysis as the teams are coming live, provided by yours truly. But we'll see if the forward hold comes out. The last thing, well, not the last thing I'll say on it, but the thing with it is that when it works, you get like 30 to 40 extra seconds. That's it. And the risk is so big. People are like, oh, but sometimes they get a 3-minute hold on it. And I'm like, yeah, but that means you were just going to steamroll that team anyway. It's a win more strategy. It doesn't change the result against teams you were already beating, but it takes teams you might have gone neutral against and can potentially cause you to lose. Do I think that maybe there's some kind of, like, armistice where both teams just constantly agree to do it, which means it cancels itself out when everyone's dropping their meds on first? Maybe. I don't know, but I'm going insane.
As we see, DK actually is doing the forward hold. I mean, that's not. I expected nothing less. Teams are going to do the forward hold. Teams know, like, oh, we could do the forward hold against Rib. It's definitely possible. And I've seen DK have a very, very strong forward hold against Witness Gaming scrims, and even like other teams in the past. So this could be a good forward hold for them to do into this, and I expect Rib to just try to do a sack as the round starts here in this map. 2 best of 3. Okay, Pickle's finding the pick onto Fungus immediately at the gate, but that doesn't matter too much because there are just standard crits to use.
Watch Cosmic here, because to me the biggest indicator of whether or not the first sack here works is whether or not the spy already finds the Devil Man. Okay, sack coming in right there. They don't get the force. The dispenser armor works for Blake, and the jetpack pyro gets launched into the corner. I was gonna say the main indicators, if your spy is able to sap the gun, usually the sack goes pretty well. I can't blame Cosmic for taking the free demo pick, but ultimately it means that the gun didn't get sapped, so the force ends up not going off.
Yeah, there's definitely a formula there to make sure that first hold is as weak as possible, which is kind of the extra sack from the gun. But the Ubers come out for the side of Rib, and the response from Blake and DK. Uber being forced here. It's going to be onto the DK to kind of hold their ground here as long as possible as the hold drops down to tracks here. Pickle's getting bombed on the side of flank. She actually lives there, so the side of DK are going to try and hold this, however. Zebra finding the kill on the Tuka, so yeah, the forward hold is already kind of null at this point. As Rib walk forward, Billiman does pop a banner. Yeah, and it doesn't do much for the side of DK. It does keep them into this fight a little bit longer. Brian is still alive, so they will be able to hold this a little bit longer, but the bomb coming in from Damar onto flank, trying to get the kill to Tuka, does not find it, but Kartik is able to build another gun on flank, and nobody's actually staring at it. However, it has been called. Ness is actually trying to take the NG 1v1, but Kartik teleports out there, almost dies. But Rib, successful first push. I mean, damn, that was a great push from Rib. Not much contention there, and DK kind of just gave him the way.
It doesn't... I'm still not convinced that was worth it. You could have done that time with a much softer hold, and now they're coming in. No Uber, Blake hit a low in spawn, and one more shot from Berto, but Denmark finds the rocket. So Blake has gone down. Gonna be ad for Pibble, who's all the way back in spawn. Demento is cloak and daggered up on the bottom of hill, calming that no one's there to be found. If they're able to push second with this Uber ad, I'm gonna do it. I'm going to attribute that to Blake not having Uber off of the first hold.
Yeah, Pibble now having full advantage here off of that sack onto Blake. Rib looking to take the Uber ad here over Hill, it looks like. They end up popping here. Zebra going straight into the air. Hopefully he doesn't get killed on his way down here. He doesn't, but Uber not finding any value. The gun is still alive here, and no damage on him either. DK will eventually take back this hill as Brian finds the kill onto Muja here. Great bomb coming out of Billy Boy. Huge damage as Rib are running away with their lives here. Pibble ends up dying as well. Complete wipe almost for the side of Rib here. DK with a great response. And that Uber was very, very unlucky for the side of Rib, but DK, showcasing their potential of refighting that very well and are able to just completely dominate them on that hill fight. Great start for DK, and this is the situation that nobody wants to be in. Pushing Vigil second with this ad is going to be one of the most challenging things you can really do on a lot of payloads. As Rib looked for another sack that works last time. The bomb onto Blake with the dispenser armor blocking the entirety of this bomb. That is crazy. I've never seen a medic utilize that so well other than Blake. And Rib's sack completely falls out there. No picks really ever at all there, and DK holding hill for longer.
Yeah, going back to that Uber, they had a lot of eggs in the basket of Cosmic being able to get the sap off on the gun, but Cosmic just decloaked in, kind of the standard spot in a little shrub behind the gun. Got caught out, no sap on the gun. They never were ever, took any presence off of Hill because of it. I feel like they just stalled out instead of really committing, but now the Uber pops out from the defense. Pibble is alone, not backing up. Triple's just gonna find them at 97. That has to be filed under a misplay. Pibble could have been running away, may have been able to survive, get that Uber, but will get caught out and go down. So second hold is in full swing right now for DK. That kill on Pibble, and that is huge.
Yeah, I'm surprised that ended up happening though. It was definitely a potential misplay from Pibble, but I saw Bruno right there next to her before she died. I mean, they could have just ran out years and years ago. So I think Pibble just stayed in for a little bit too long there. But remember, no Ubers are in play here, so a dry fight will commence for the side of Rib onto DK. DK, gun's still alive. Chalk going through main, does not find any value. Tuka with a 7K already. Blake hasn't taken an ounce of damage, however, Rib is getting completely spammed.
Of that, so this
Mujek kills Fuzzy. Yep, Pibble dying as well, so with all that being said, Rib, again, this second push is so hard to deal with, man. If your team's not super coordinated and understand the whole premise of the defensive team, it just becomes impossible, it feels like.
All right, I think we're about to hear a banner. Pibble's at 10% exile. I want to get on your soapbox here. What, ironically, is this now? Okay, the banner's coming in. Is this where the push comes in? But Uber and battalions means that will not be the case. Teach us the theory, Professor Exile here. What do you have to do as a team starting from this app to push Vigil second?
I mean, most of the time it's not going to be a push at all. I mean, it's going to usually just end up being your team sack and try to get as many picks as possible for the next fight, because the offensive team's going to have the better spawn wave. The defensive team's going to have, those certain classes being dead here is going to matter a lot. As I say this, actually, Rib, oh my god, the 5 kills, 6 kills for the side of Rib. DK is only 3 alive here, and Rib hasn't lost a single player. Cosmic finding 2 picks of that is huge. Jacob finding the pick onto Birdo is going to be, kind of a consolation to him, but as I was saying that, man, the dry fight worked. I mean, all it came down to is Cosmic turning up and getting 2 kills immediately there. So I guess I don't know what I'm talking about, but with a successful second push there, it's going to give them the point. Great sack from Damar onto Brian, actually. And with ad from Pibble, they end up using Chalk Uber onto third point. Pushes all of DK out of the point. Pure respect and fear of the Chalk Uber. And looks like Blake actually got a saw, so there's going to be a little bit of Uber potential from Blake. But, I mean, it's going to be kind of a hard fight for the side of DK. But they actually are looking to peek it as Rib hold the corner pretty well with 0 car time.
Blake, catches it, runs back into spawn. No damage coming in onto the med right there. Cart just
this is a replay.
In the tracks, all of the kills are going in favor of DK. Jacob even getting in on the action on to Fungus. Usually you'd expect that the other way around. But just going to be forced to back off right here, Blake, with the Uber. They do not want Pibble getting caught out.
Man, what a sad situation for the side of Rib. I mean, they got the second point so well and advantage pushing into third, but even with the advantage, they use it, get not as many kills as they want to, and Blake's able to get that Uber, and the refight that started was off the backbone of the ad failing for Rib and also getting those picks from Brian and the other people. But Rib looking to drive right through Lattice here as Pibble has Uber. They use onto Zebra. The gun is pretty forward, however, Chalk's a part of this Uber trying to force out that gun kill, and they do. They get the Uber as well. Rib started this fight pretty even, however, they do lose 2 towards the end, but Triple ends up dying. And Jacob stabbed Mujet in the back line though, so they're going to be down a sniper for Rib, but Brian being alive here will find his picks towards the end of this fight. But Rib's not done fighting yet. With no sniper and half their combo push through locker, they kind of keep going. Chalk fighting Brian and Fuzzy on that hill pressure from third. Damar getting in, getting the pick on the Carson. However, Blake unscathed. And the combo of DK are still going to be trying to fight this as long as possible here. As Triple respawn, they are going to try and hold this. And with a good attempt from the side of Rib, but I mean, alas, it's just so hard to drive fight that. You find the kill on Triple, but dying to Jacob again. And oh my god, it's kills and kills being swapped from both teams here, but DK still on the kind of upward trend here on this hold. There's just too much going on. Really like Triple. Just too much happening in this match so far, and it's not going to be a good thing for Rib. However, they're going to keep trying. Mujet finding the kill and a kill on suit from Zebra, but Blake has that Uber being built so soon, and Triple just running over them there. I mean, without heals, that's kind of what you expect. And Brian dying to Mujet. There's just so many dry fights going on. So what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, you'd almost expect that with so many players being traded, that with the spawn ads, things may be more in favor of Rib right here, but DK is able to just slightly come ahead on the exchange. You know, the card did get up, which is going to be big for Rib right here. If they're able to kind of tap that in, you're probably looking at about 8 minutes through third, which gives them another 2 minutes on last for a salvageable time. But now the gun still in the more passive spot though, but all the kills coming in favor of DK right here. They finally knocked two off the card. Birdo can't even run in to tap it due to the positioning of that gun. Danmar forced out, dies in hell. And things now not looking good. Ness stabbed out. Well, you can only get the one kill there too. Take that 2-1 to Carson.
Man, both these teams do not want to kind of slow it down the game and stabilize of any kind. Rib keeps trying to find the kills in these drive-bys during these transitions to win out the push somehow. I mean, they got a lot of card time, and this kill with Jacobs is a great start. Bailey Boy, great bomb onto Tibble, but gets denied immediately. So Jacob and Billy whipping down. This is kind of Rib's opportunity to take some sort of fight onto the car here. However, Danmar behind with 20 HP, and the Ubers do get exchanged from both teams. But 3 picks already on the side of Rib before the Ubers are even exchanged yet. I mean, this is a really, really bad situation for the side of Rib. I think finding the kill onto Tuco is a great consolation, but again, when you lose 3 players when the Uber starts, I mean, how winnable is it really? Oh, he gets the bomb and gets on the card cap. Oh my goodness, how is that possible? Oh,
all right,
get the cap. It looks like a
pause. Just watching that Uber, it was such a funny alley-oop. Fungus air blasted Tuke like 3 times, bounced him up over the rocks onto flank where Cosmic was waiting, and stabs him immediately. And then they managed to come in, nuke the cart cap on the back side of it. So we're at what, 9:30 though through third? That's tough.
Now, that is tough for what it looks like just right now, but remember, I think the third hold is really, really important. The last hold is potentially the best hold in the game, though, for defensive, but I've seen teams hold last so poorly that a 9:30 could just become like a 10:30 or just a 1-minute last push. And that 10:30 is not that bad. It's doable for the offensive side, or the defensive hold team, you know, but I did see that alley from Fungus Bungus for that heavy, and then the stab from Cosmic. I did definitely see that. Yeah, this pod timing was crazy because they just capped for Rib. I'm really shocked. I mean, they're losing so many players in the midst of these Uber exchanges that it just shouldn't seem winnable at all, and they just keep fighting over and over and over again. Even when they're down so many players after the exchanges, they keep going. And I mean, it took them around 5 minutes, but they finally got it. I mean, that's probably not how they want to play it, but it ended up eventually working out, and they didn't get like hard held on this third point. So we got to see how they respond going into the last push on Vigil, which is really, really hard to do for, you know, for some teams to push last.
Exile, I'm really glad with this analysis there's something more important that we need to be talking about.
Is it not?
Do you see this arrow?
Oh, wait, why is it so big? Wait. I didn't even feel it. How did it get so big? It's huge. Is that a glitch? What is that?
Medic, can I have heals? Only 1 arrow's worth. Me with the comically large arrow.
There's no way that's the size of a normal arrow. Does that mean Blake has some sort of like arrow cheats? Like, how is that possible? I've never seen that.
Anyway, we got an update on the on the pause. Cosmic dropped his mouse and it opened up, so they paused while he's fixing the hardware. I think the teams are probably going to go take a quick break. Otherwise, maybe talk some strats in the meantime. So technical pause is really what's coming in here. Hardware pause more so. Happened a lot on LAN. Doesn't happen so often on when we're doing matches normally, but. I can't stop looking at it.
Yeah, I've been staring at it since you brought it up. I mean, I wasn't even aware of its existence until you said something, but that's a very comically large syringe. That's true. I mean, I'm looking at it right now. It's bigger than Blake. It's big. Oh, well, not really. It's like half of his torso from the ground up, but like,
what do you think his
that
build
is pretty crazy.
What turns did he take to unlock?
Definitely, that probably like overheal, like better overheal with arrow. Like your arrow will overheal. That's gonna give like a heavy 450. Like there's no way it does it right.
That's
like it definitely.
It's like an MVM upgrade.
Yeah, it's like an MVM upgrade. Like he probably has 5 more he can shoot from his clip. I mean, that's his playoffs. He's popping his ult. You know.
Yeah, but the thing is, each one of those costs 10 ammo instead of the 1 you only get 4 of them.
Yeah, you only get to shoot 4 of them. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, your teams are going to be buffed, so as long as he sits into the dispenser and spams them, how can you lose? As long as your medic hits every arrow.
It can also headshot if it lands on an enemy.
Yeah, you could have. I think that the Crusader's crossbow should headshot right now in our current game. I think that'd be a great buff to the medic. Okay. That would make me want to play medic again. I mean, I used to play medic also. I don't know if you remember that. I would love to go back to playing medic with a buff like that. As we say that, the pause is now over for the side of Rib. Now they have
Blake
third, so
does
they're going to be
die
looking to push
there.
less. Oh, did he die?
I think maybe we were a little focused on the arrow, which is understandable, but Blake does die at the end of that there. So
Oh, he died to
there
Ness.
is
Actually, it's
going-
two-shot.
there is going to be an ad coming in here. As you mentioned, you know, if there's a bad last hole, that 930 can very easily turn into a 1030. Mujet opening up on the triple means flank should be open already. So, you know, the wheels are in motion. There's still a lot to go. Cosmic getting punched out by two. Definitely not gonna help.
Oh, well, I mean, Mujet dying to Brian pretty much instantly after that, so... Oh, but Rib actually trying to contest the flank here as they pick up Billy Boy, so without Mujet, I mean, with this flank control, what can you really do without a sniper? I mean, you have no sniper peeking through big door, all you can really do is maybe spam the gun, but Brian is kind of just staring at you while you do it. Oh, they do get the gun. Actually, they kill Carson during that too, so that's a great start. The Uber does happen, obviously, and they only get the gun. But with Mujet not there, not much right now in this post. Mujet is there now, getting flanked by triple in big door. Doesn't he get killed? He does. However, with a huge bump from Billy Boy and Cosmic. Oh, great kills from Cosmic here. Actually, the character gets denied a little bit, but oh my god, what did I say? A 1030? 1048. So close. I mean, it was really close.
That was pathetic.
Yeah, but however, we were right. I mean, again, the last push, all it takes is one good last push, and it's the hold's gone. It's just so hard to hold it after you do, like, when you're fighting a last hold like that. Your gun dies, you're on dis side. I mean, they got to fix that back, and they just won it out, so.
Now, unfortunately, I have bad news. 11 minutes is not a good time on visuals.
No, it is not. No,
I
it's
mean,
not.
was that a great last push? Yes. Is it possible they hold this? Absolutely. I am not betting on it. But I think what this tells you is that, you know, looking forward, second's going to be the problem point, right? Rib has shown they know how to push last, which is not something we see from every Vigil team. So they know that's there. They need to work on their second. Third could have been cleaner, but, you know, the fundamentals were there. So now it's about how good of a time can you get, because even if you don't win this half, if you put up a 9-minute defense, I think you've set yourself up decently well to potentially win further halves, as long as you're able to, you know, work on some of the offenses.
Absolutely. I mean, Rib is going to do the forward hold, so, you know, DK had a pretty decent, not really, their forward hold is pretty bad, so let's see if Rib can maybe win out a better hold. I think DK's hold was 130, so if Rib can beat that, the forward hold might be OP. Okay, Zebra kills triple immediately, and I think we're just going to expect a sack coming out of the side of DK here, which it does come through. Sap onto the gun, stab onto Zebra. Oh my god, we're gonna have to get force here. Oh, Jacob getting a butter knife on her and some revolver shots, but no dice there for Jacob. And the sack does end up failing for the side of DK. No force or gun kill, so Rib already starting pretty strong. No Uber's faded, no Uber's popped, and it's just going to be a standard kind of push here for the side of DK. As they walk out of spawn with Blake and Pickles, the exchange is probably just going to go out through main here very soon as they walk through. It is spotted. They get the call early, so Rib do drop down and meet them onto the tracks. And it's onto Rib here trying to respond without the forward hold and no Uber how they're going to hold it.
And yep, there's Brian onto Pibble. Guess what? It happened again! Validation. Sweet validation. So Pibble caught backing out of the first hold, meaning the momentum pushing into second already. Denmark caught out. No gun waiting for them on second either. Pibble has respawned, but Demento coming in finds Chalk 2 already forward, having pushed out of tunnel, has the little inside track on the cart, but maybe a little too forward. Rest of the team gonna collapse in on him. Cart isn't there quite yet.
Ooh, bot from Billy Boy does not get any kills onto Rib there. Nessa's gun's able to clean that up. However, with the push being so good for the side of DK, they're able to stay on hill for a very long time, but they do end up backing up as Zebra finds the kill onto Fuzzy. And DK are going to reset here onto first, with Ubers being pretty much even. I mean, Blake has a little bit of ad. Jacob might have called that. Oh, it looks like they want to take a tunnel. They might take it through tunnel knowing that it's advantage, but the Uber's fading so quickly. People at 90%, the Ubers do get popped by DK onto the Rib combo. However, they're playing so passive that they're going to get that Uber. Are they going to have to use back out here? They look like they want to. They do take the Uber back into DK, and they actually get basically everything they wanted there. They killed Blake, they get 6 kills, 7 kills, and wow, I mean, that was a good read from Rib to hold that. They knew they were on that slight dis out there. They managed to get the Uber and kind of win out that Uber there. Oh, and a headshot onto Jacob at the end from Mujet. Great hold from Mujet and his team. 9 kills in that hold. What more could you ask for?
Yeah, they really clutched up, won the fights where they needed to. Even with Ness getting stabbed out in the backside of that, they were able to come back in, find the picks. And now, though, Brian getting the kill onto Mujet's going to open up hill for a potential drive. Cosmic dead as well. Billy Boy over the top onto Fibble. Gamma going to go down next. Some kills coming back in favor of the defense right there, but you have to imagine it's going to be too big with no medic on that long spawn time. Pickles finds Chalk, and yep, that will be the cap coming through. Just about what, 3 minutes on that, I want to say.
Yeah, it was around like 255, 250. So they were able to cap first and second in around 3 minutes. That's pretty good for the side DK with 7 minutes and 40 seconds for 2 points. That is doable, but I've seen actually it might be hard for them to push if they lose a couple of pushes. I mean, it really comes down to those Ubers and how they take them here. With the ad that Blake has, because people died on that second hold, DK will take this Uber into Rib here on their third and see if they can take the entire point away from them. However, Zebra and Berto are able to find their picks early. Berto on a streak here, killing Brian and Fuzzy. As the force comes out from Blake here, but his demo is no longer alive. They have nothing they can really do with that Uber, so they end up just running away. So Rib, with that aggressive play, they're actually ended up working, and they completely just dominate DK as they try to use that ad. So Rib will have a chance to kind of reset here on this third point.
Yeah, all solidarity with Comrade Berto there coming in and really just putting in the foundations of that hold. The ad, I'm not a huge fan of that pop ad of Blake having just lost 2 people on flank. You know, if you're only being able to pressure up through track, that Uber is going to go nowhere fast, even if it is an ad. So, going to be round 2 right now. Pibble does have ad, Blake only on 65. They're going to kill the mini thus far. Good pressure coming in. They're going to hit up Chalk low and find Berto as well. High bomb coming in from Danmar in onto flank. Not going to land on anyone directly. Make that more kills though onto Zebra, onto Chalk. Pibble still has Uber, but they're going to use now just on the Pyro. WM1's down to Brian loses the SBS. Fungus in deep trying to get Blake, but they will not force the Uber out, and Mujet goes down to the post.
Yeah, Fungus chasing a bit too far there. Gonna end up trading, but it does become a kill for the side DK to work off. But Mujet being dead here and Brian alive, that's a great start for DK to kind of take their advantage back in, which they do. Blake gets forced here. Triple taking most of this Uber to try and find a kill wherever possible. You might get Pibble. Does he find the kill to Pibble? Pibble living with 20 HP. She doesn't die. Triple actually alive for so long. Brian finally comes to Mujet there. Even though Triple dying, he secured his team the point. So Rib now on their last stand here on the last defense of their Vigil hold. But it looks like DK are going to go very quickly through main here, set up that forward hold onto the side of Rib, and make it hard for the team to walk out of spawn. Remember, add for the side of Rib, but not very much.
Focus on Duke right now. That heavy up on the head glitch is the linchpin of the potential Vigil last snowball. Billy Boy takes out Chalk right away. That's going to be a really big pick onto that defensive heavy. Duke has such a dangerous angle, forces the DR right away, as the entire team pinned into that left side. Zebra's gonna go down, but Danmar makes it over the top, finds Blake. Pickle's gonna be going down next. Kills in favor of DK, but Troop goes down. Cart nowhere near right now, and no med means that all of this damage is going to stick. Jacob caught out, tries to jump into the sap, shot out of the air, and we may see hopefully a bit of stabilization from Rib here in onto last Pibble with the Uber. Blake pulled this ad. Chalk versus Took in Red Room, and Took wins it by a hair. Danmar with the follow-up.
Yeah, Pibble with that full ad there. Blake dying out of that hold they were trying to do onto Ribs last, but getting picked up by Cosmic, and Danmar will give Pibble the advantage here. It looks like the sack coming out from DK will actually successfully force Pibble and find some kills in the process, as 4 players are down on the side of Rib, including Mujet and Danmar. So DK, even though they're down 3, those spirals are going to be pretty long, as DK looking to just get some cap time and maybe some potential refighting going on in the next 10 seconds. No Ubers in play for the side of Rib, but Blake has an Uber and advantage. So when they come in, it will be Uber ad for DK. But Rib with 4 minutes left on their defense, will they be able to hold this? Let's find out. They actually Uber through Big Door for the side of DK, are able to find Chalk and Zebra with that great stab coming out of Jacob. Chalk killing Billy Boy, but you know, numbers advantage versus this numbers advantage for the side of Rib, and a lot of pressure happening at the same time here, but no dice for the side of Rib. Kills being gotten from DK, and it looks like it's going to be DK's round to be gotten there. Great push for the side of DK, securing the first point of this map 2 pick for the side of DK. I mean, that was a great map so far, but it's going to be on Rib here to try to edge out a round in this next round to see if they can stay in this best of 3.
Yeah, I mean, 7-minute defense there is okay. If you could pull off, if you're... All right, Excel, question for you. If you're Rib right now, right, you just, you pushed 11, you held 7. If, if Gaben himself came down and said, I can guarantee you'll hold for exactly 7 minutes, would you take it? Do you think you're getting away with something if you take that, or do you think that you could do better?
Okay, personally, I've been preached previously before this cast started today that the first hold is pretty hard to do and it's not worth doing on certain teams when you're not comfortable with it. And even on the team I played with this season, we actually didn't do the forward hold. So in the situation that we have that 7 minutes of clarity from, whatever, we know it's going to be a 7 minutes, I would actually not hold that first forward. The hold that we kind of all remember, which is kind of holding passively.
Maybe I might have mistook that. First hold doesn't factor into it. You're going to hold 7 regardless of what you do. What I'm going for here is, do you think that if you're Rib, right, do you take the 7 minutes and say, okay, we can take that as a guarantee and then we just have to push, or do you test your luck and try to hold for longer than 7, knowing that you could also get wiped and capped in 5.5?
I don't think it's ever worth doing the risky stuff when 7 minutes is the time you're playing around, right? So no, I don't think any risk there is worth it. That answers what you're asking me. I don't think the risk is worth it. That's basically the summary of that. So Rib definitely shouldn't be risking anything there in terms of trying to do anything to elongate that 7 minutes or whatever. Not worth it.
So if you're then you're saying, okay, how can we push in quicker than 7?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
gotcha.
It's up to the main caller to decide. Okay, we don't want to push at 7. We want to push even shorter than that, right? It's always the goal of pushing before that last 10 seconds. You don't want to be in a situation where it comes down to 10 seconds and someone getting on cart and then someone doesn't get on cart and you just lose because of that. You know what I mean? That's never the situation you want to be in. So you always want to just do the best you can with the time. Even if the time you have, you just got to play the best case scenario for every point. It's just the best thing you can do.
Yeah. So, that said, though, it's going to be on them to try to milk that as long as a defense as possible. I mean, I think there were some moments, I feel like a broken record, so I'm repeating every time we cast DK versus Rib has their moments, right? They have their moments, Birdo getting 2 on flank to start out an exchange, that really clutch second hold they had despite coming in with disad from first. There were opportunities for Rib to really show up. Then they managed to get that, and then 20, 30 seconds later, people start bleeding again. It's like they feel like the bus from the movie Speed, right? If they're ever going less than 50 miles an hour, they just explode.
That's a great reference, actually, but yeah.
And
I don't know.
Even on offense, right? Once they capped third, they rolled their momentum into last so well. But the second they lose that momentum, right? They had the full ad pushing into second. They completely bungled the Uber, and then it took them 5 minutes to get started again.
Yeah, I feel like when you're in a situation where you have those advantages, and you might not even expect to be in those situations, because a good team should be able to deny your advances in those ways. Because obviously, if they don't die on the first hold, they should have a second hold with default Ubers, right? The scenario of having advantage there is not well versed for some teams. So when you have that advantage and it goes so poorly, you're stuck in a situation where we just messed up an Uber ad push and now we're caught. What do we do? We're caught, hands up. What do we do now, right? And there's so many situations, even on their third push for the Rib, they took the third push so aggressively and they had picks. Mujet was able to keep Brian locked down, but they were not able to keep Mujet alive afterwards. Jacob would go for the stab. The flank of Rib would end up dying. Chalk would die. Damar would not be alive for very long. And then Cosmic would go for the stab or the sap, and he wouldn't be able to get anything during that. And then for the side of DK, they know with those picks, if they get them, they can keep holding that third longer. So I think it was on Rib to kind of understand the situations that they were in with those advantages and kind of push them further and look towards each point with that mindset of, okay, we're on the upsetting of DK arc here. We got to make sure we keep doing what we're doing right, But I think they just kind of got bundled up in the wrong kind of bush, and they just kind of got messed up because of that, and calls kind of didn't go where they should have been. So, but there's a lot to learn from that first round for Rib. So I think Rib still has the potential to come back from this, but DK, that was a very strong kind of push they had. So it was 6 minutes, I think, 7 minutes. It was pretty good.
6:57 or so, I want to say, based off the time.
6 or something. Yeah.
So, yeah, again, I think if you can if you can keep that 7 up, you're putting yourself in a position to win. Anything longer is going to be great. But really, it's going to come down to, figuring out that second hold. And something I want to talk to that you mentioned that I've mentioned before, and I want to reiterate, is that you said that, like, when you're pushing second, right, you think sacks are a good way, and that you're kind of trying to open things up for the dry fight, right? Because that aligns with my feelings as well, where I think that Vigil second is often a map that you are not going to win on the Uber exchange. You're going to win it on the post fight.
Yeah, I think like it's going to be very hard to find those very crucial picks on a dry fight from your spy or sniper, right? That you want to rely off of to actually win out those dry pushes on second. So going for the stacks are more of a potential guarantee way out of things to kind of secure some sort of advantage for the next push, right? It's like those first sacks on that forward hold. I mean, me and you both know if you get that sack going, I mean, it's really hard to deny for a team holding the forward on defense. It's going to be the same effect on second defense as well on Vigil, where if they just sack into you, a lot of just misplay could happen in between that from your players. Also, your med could just drop at any point, right? It's like so many people sacking on you. The gun might die, your demo might die, your sniper or med might die, right? So going for a dry fight as your default could work only if you have the timing window of like your spy is completely ready, all your players are buffed, and everyone's ready to kind of just send it forward, right? But again, it becomes very hard. But with Rib finding that opening, that was a very crucial moment in the match for the first round that I was impressed that I saw Cosmic finding those 2 picks. And them starting on the defense here, they're not going to have to worry about that just yet, but I want to see that same kind of level of aggression from them on offense. But again, DK starting on offense here, we're going to see some of that probably from them as well. So,
yep, Crit Sticky's coming off right now. We'll see. It looks like the standard first hold is being set up. I'm eagerly awaiting to see how that's going to turn out. Say with only a tinge of sarcasm.
All right, Alta, say it with me, all right? Forward hold. They're doing the forward hold here for the set of Rib on the first point. How many minutes are we going to expect Rib to hold on this first point? I'm guessing actually 2 minutes. I'm going to give them a buffer here for 2 minutes. As long as they don't lose like Pibble or Mujet or something like that, then they could potentially hold long. So
that as long as is doing a lot of weightlifting in that sentence with how often we see meds getting killed on first, be it on the initial sack or on the back out. I'm interested. We'll see what happens. I like what Pibble did, where I feel like a lot of meds. You mentioned Blake, as Mujet actually opens up directly onto Brian. Bit of maybe it doesn't really do too much, but gets the momentum. I think you mentioned Blake uses the dispenser armor very successfully. I don't think a lot of other meds do it to his success, and instead sit on the dispenser in the corner and die on the sack. Pibble actually wasn't on the dispenser, played further back, so even when the gun got sapped, which it doesn't here, able to stay alive. The force will come off. The Billy Boy coming in around on the side, able to get that Uber forced off. They are smartly calling the blackout. Pibble using the feature of the map made specifically to exit from first safely, and they will successfully make it on the other side of the tracks, on the other side of the chicken wire, alive. That said, full Uber for Blake. We'll see if they're going to be able to capitalize on it. Mujet going down could be a window.
Oh, what if you should die to? I think it was like a body shot to a sticky from Pickles and Brian, but good shot nonetheless here. So my prediction was wrong, unfortunately, but it did actually show Rib's potential to give up the first forward hold pretty well, which they were able to leave through that longhouse, making sure they don't get caught on the cross when the team of DK has that advantage there. But again, for Rib, they got to make sure they get this Uber. Similar to last round, actually, the same thing, but as I said, DK takes the Uber aggressively over hill as Rib is basically hiding in spawn. We haven't even seen much of Rib on hill whatsoever. But Ubers are now now happened for DK. Pibble at 85%. Gonna get this Uber here. Cart not out of cave just yet. A bomb coming out from Billy Boy does not find much value there. Oh, but Jacob does kill Mujet on the back end of that. Uber does get popped by Pibble on hill. They do actually kill 3 players on hill, including Blake and Brian. So Rib will be able to set up a rehold onto this second point with advantage because of that. I feel like DK took that kind of sloppy, honestly. Like, they took an Uber into nothing and then tried to sack into nothing. But Rib, it was a great read. I think Rib did that perfectly. So good on Rib, and the hold on second starts now.
I really think if Duke had the opportunity, he'd take the plays he made on these ad pushes back, because he's trying to wrap up through track, create presence. As Mujet finds Blake just lacking on hill, but he goes up forward. Oh, it was through tunnel. My bad. Good eyes on that dolphin. As now everyone's just coming in. sacking because they know their med is dead. Great Carpet, he might just tap!
Oh, the cart is so close to the last point. I mean, it could just come down to Jacob tapping that cart to the end, but that's exactly the response you want to do when your med dies, is do a sack immediately like that. And if we're talking about how to push second, that's exactly the kind of opening you want. Is your med just died. If we all hold a 9-man walk forward right now, 8-man walk forward right now, we could potentially get cart, and that's exactly what they did. The gamble was there, and it was worth taking. Now Rib's in a situation where even though we have advantage here, it doesn't really feel like it. We have that cart player to worry about. Chalk sitting on the car as it rolls back down the hill. Coming in from the side of Rib onto DK. Are they going to catch Blake? They do. Great flank coming out of Danmar and Cosmic onto the combo of DK. And it looks like another sack's going to come in basically right after from DK, but it actually does not here. And even with the cart keeps going down, DK is in a super bad position now where Blake keeps dying. And there's no way of playing around the ads that Rib is doing now.
Yeah, once again, we're seeing, when you don't have any momentum pushing into second, it can be a brutal point to try and go through. They're looking to send a lot of people straight in through tracks. This Blake only on turn, committing a little bit, but this gun gonna get both bombers right away. Tuke finally does take it out. Billy Boy gets in behind, finds Mujit before getting close stick by Ness. That's really gonna be the only thing this sack gets, the gun and the sniper. That said, Pibble still with the ad. Jacob glow stick next, gets the sack on the gun, but nothing else. A little delayed from the rest of the team. So Uber for Pibble, Blake probably just gonna wait, and we'll see an exchange shortly.
Yep, Ubers are going to even out, like you said here. Mijep being dead. Oh, Cosmic dying in the fight, before the fight even starts here, as DK takes the Uber, but Zebra gets kind of angsty there and jumps into Brian's headshot. Does end up dying. Uber's popping for both teams. Billy Boy finds his way behind onto Mujet. All he needs to do is kill Mujet here to make this push really good for his team. He does not find it though, as Rib finding some kills on Hill, but they're actually losing out here. Tuka coming in from side tunnel, getting so much damage and kills. Jacob making sure Tuka doesn't die here. What a great save from Jacob. Tuka does end up dying to Zebra, but it looks like DK was very successful in pushing that second point. I mean, that Uber happening onto Rib, but not actually getting onto Zebra. Getting him killed, that was so bad for the side of Rib. Unlucky, honestly, but yeah, that's going to give DK the second point as they start looking for the next hole.
Really a lot of unforced errors there with people dying before the fight to something that they didn't have. Danmar, they're doing his best to try to stop this momentum coming forward, but Cemento finds Pibble. I think it's air blasted into Mujit, so that's two big picks coming in from Jacob. 4:30 through second is a decent enough time. Have to imagine third's going to go over pretty quickly given this Uber ad.
We've seen an Uber ad for the side of Rib do something similar or potentially happen for DK in this scenario where they take the Uber ad, don't get much value or kills with it, and then maybe potentially lose it at the end. So if DK can't do that and they're able to take an Uber, get the picks and maybe the gun that they can get and get the card up, it should be clean and easy to do. But the start of this push happening, Cosmic kills Pickles already, so with the ad Uber happening with no demo, we're gonna have to see how they take it. Oh my god, the Pyro Uber going through, no deny coming out of anyone on Rib onto the Pyro. That's a great Uber to get the cart up with, which they eventually might get here. Carson's tapping that cart in, which they do. Rib basically playing that as safe as they could possibly be, only losing their demo there, and Pibble living, but I mean, they just gave up the point, and there's still no Uber in place still, so DK still has picks to play around if they want to do something on last year, but they can just do the safe approach, get that card up, and kind of reset.
WM1 is unstoppable at all level of plays. You saw it here. Just take the Pyro Uber. Demo's dead, who cares? Just take the Pyro in. We're at 5:30 right now. I mean, Pibble was able to keep the ad right now. Gotta be careful for any sacks coming in. Jacob has found his way behind. Going for the decloak, Pibble turn around. They do manage to catch the spot. But the sack coming in means the force will come out. So you're going to see DK get what they want regardless. They're going to get some picks onto Danmar and Chalk as well. Billy Boy coming in late and
whoa, the timing.
The gun was wrangled, not able to deny the soldier. And that was... I'm not quite sure what that timing was, but it works if you're Billy Boy.
Yeah, that was a great. I mean, that was a great timing bomb from Billy Boy. Nobody can really discredit it from that. That was perfectly timed. There was no spy to calm him that either. He just did it on his own accord and it worked. I think the Pyro was dead for the side of Rib, which is why he went for that bomb. But he gambled on the gun being wrangled, and it was. He was able to find the pick on the Pibble, which gives Blake 100% advantage pushing into this last point. As DK is setting up outside of Red Room, looking to take this advantage the best they can. I don't know if Jacob gotten his way behind yet, so they're going to try and take the Uber and potentially kill the gun with it. However, Cosmic does end up killing Tuka, so that's a good start for Rib, honestly. Killing the Heavy is very crucial on a push like this. Jacob does find his way through flank here. and the Ubers are not being built fast enough on the side of Rib for this to be potentially holdable with Uber. So they're going to have to play this fight really well with the disc that they have. Chalk getting Ubered into from flank is triple pipe by Pickles, and only trading Billy Boy for that as Chalk kills Billy Boy. But for Rib, they have the numbers to fight this, but no Uber. They take the drive fight in, they bomb in, go deep onto Pickles and on Fuzzy. Pickles becomes the kill. So much captain on the side of DK. Tuka gets into the God spot position that he knows very well.
To Tuka though, numbers are coming in this mini, doing so much. It's just the spot, locked to the tap. Cosmic doing the best he can. Blake gets the kill. There's another pipe. Jacob coming in, going for the decloak. Not sure if he got bumped or not. Doesn't go for the card. He goes for spawn. The hold's there for now. Jacob will find the kill on Ness. That gun's gonna stay at level 1.
Oh, this fight looking so rough. Yeah, I think they are going to try and hold this. They are down 3, though. Brian is alive. That Jet is picked during that fight there by Brian. 4 versus 7 people on the side of DK. Uber is forced from Pibble. No Uber on the side of Blake, though. However, Billy by going very deep onto the side of Ribs last year. They get Pibble, and they get the card. 8:20 is a great time on Vigil, and that was a great push coming off of DK onto Ribs last. I mean, 8 minutes, however, is not that bad for Rib to play around. I mean, that's definitely a doable push for them.
Yeah, it's better than what they had last time, but I think it was about 1:30 better. So, entirely winnable time right now. I mean, would have liked to. Do I think they could have honestly had it a little bit longer? Yeah, but no, you'll take it against the #1 seed. I think about it this way, right? It's a time where like, if you can't tap in 8:20, you just didn't start to win.
Absolutely, that makes perfect sense to me, honestly. But I think the portal is in effect for the side of DK. But in this situation, let's talk about it. I mean, they saw a decent example of how the portal looked like for Rib. If they can kind of make it look better in their own hold, which is a tall ask, surely, but they can definitely gain a couple of minutes of lost time here for the side of DK if they can actually have a successful forward hold. And this is the last round, or the round that could matter the most for them, potentially last round or not. If they can get that really good first hold, we can see the attempt of second pushing for Rib look catastrophic. So if they can have a really good first hold here, this is the time to do it. And for Rib, everything is on this round to win, honestly.
Yeah, this is their season on the line right here. They need to push this in time, otherwise, and obviously, even if they don't, right? 3rd place, fantastic. They came into playoffs as the 4th. They've already kind of upset that. Good season from them. They've, duked it out with some of the bigger. But the gun comes in. Here come the sacks. Where is Blake? Gates eats 1 rocket, but the dispenser armor does its job. He does not have to force there, and that's going to be the big thing. I think the biggest thing about whether or not you can get the forward hold off is that sack denial, because now you're in a spot where you're going to at least probably have to force the Uber. You give your meta position to get out without dying, and you're in a good spot. Zebra's going to come in, use on only the gun right here. They get some damage off. It will get the Uber out of the red team. They're going to be forced to scatter, though, on blue, as it's just way better of a pop. But, they even things out right here. This is kind of where you're at a good spot with the forward hold. You've both gotten those Ubers. Blake smartly playing in tunnel. This is about as good as it can go. But Pickles, Billy Boy, and Took all get caught out here. Brian gets some kills onto Danmar and Cosmic, but ultimately, you're not really going to see too much time being bought off this.
Brian finding some good picks towards the end there, but yeah, I mean, this is the kind of scenario that we kind of expected over the couple rounds we've been watching. I mean, 123, but they didn't lose anything, right? They didn't lose Blake. They didn't lose the half of the combo leaving first there. I mean, they lost a few, but they were able to keep their medic alive, which is the most important part. There is no gun set up onto DK's second here yet. So if Rib wanted to, they could have totally sacked at any point here, which they actually still can't because there's still no gun. And Zeba decides he wants to try and dry fight over hill with his combo, with his sniper following him alongside. Pibble getting bombed though, getting down to almost 20 HP there, but ends up living. So Uber is going to be in play here. The exchange does end up happening for both Rib and DK, but Bungus has a pretty quirky air blast there, trying to launch them forward, but they get over his head there. I think he's just completely out of ammo there, but Pick being found for the side of Rib here, getting 3 kills immediately onto Triple and Triple and Pickles, sorry, I don't know where Blank came from, but
I gotta correct you on something you said, though. You said they backed out of the forward hold without losing anything, but that's not true. They lost their Uber and they lost their gun. What we just saw out of Rib was a masterclass on how to take advantage of that. Vigil second's a point where I feel like the Uber is more important for the defense than the offense. Because without the gun, without the Uber, you're forced to play passive. Rip does a great job taking advantage of that, snowballs through second without needing any major advantages. Because the main keys the defense relies on are both gone, lost on first.
Yeah, I definitely see that kind of situation happening as well. But I think it's more crazy that Rib saw the exact same opening that you were kind of talking about there. Rib looked for that opening. They took hill so quickly, and were able to set up that hill for the exchange. And exchanging with that presence on hill is perfect play for Rib. And now they're pushing 30 with 5 minutes and 20 seconds. This is kind of the time that DK had in their own offense. So Rib now kind of taking the tides here. However, Brian winning the SVS against Mujet. With a little bit of car time here, the Uber is going to happen for Rib, and the exchange happens for DK. Uber is happening, but no sniper for Rib. Like, they don't much of a post fight here. If Cosmic can find an opening here for his team and Denver can bomb with him, it's going to be huge. However, Cosmic does end up dying to the gun. Mujet getting spawn camped by Jacob and Berto, and Zebra just dying subsequently after there. Rib is crumbling at the seams here, so the best thing we can do is just make sure Pibble lives here. And Jacob looked for the pinch on Pibble towards the end there, but they were able to kill Jacob there, securing that Uber evening out.
Pibble finally does get caught. Two coming in from the back prevents any prevents some weird whirlpool theory going on, but Pibble will be taken out. And now full ad for Blake right now. Aggro gun from Karski. You saw this is that forward. Hope you keep mentioning that XL your team had so much trouble with back in the regular season.
Yeah, I remember that very fondly. This third push is gruesome to do if you're playing against a team on defense who has that forward hold going and you're not able to support your sniper well enough. You're huge bomb coming out of Danmark. It's completely served up into the corner. But a force happens from Blake, actually, as I think he was scared of the spy potentially stabbing him there. So he did get the force off. So good sack from Rib. And Rib has only 50% Uber, so they're going to have to build this Uber before they go. But with the pick on Jacob and Triple, they think they should speed up here with Mujet looking to peek cliff here. Will Billy Boy become the pick? Oh, he does not. He gets out pretty safe. Mujet holding that cliff angle as Ubers are being built for Pibble with that 30% advantage. No push starting just yet. Denmark bombing into a heavy. Oh, wow. Tuka playing in White Room was great play there. Killing that soldier, trying to deny him from going behind. Pickles gets 2 picks
Zebra
onto
dies
Cosmic
right
Zebra.
before the Uber comes out.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. The Uber is happening right now, but the ad's going to diminish before Zebra even gets there, I think.
I mean, if they go immediately throw up through tracks, they might have it, but they don't have the time to take flank control. Oh, Blake's already at 90. I think that's it.
Oh, the Uber actually does get popped, though. Zebra and Pibble take the Uber through windows. They were able to kill Jacob, but Jacob needs to pick up the Danmar as the Uber comes out from Blake. Even Ubers are now completely over, and the Uber ad that was on the side of Rib is gone completely. Stabs coming out from Cosmic onto Tuka and Billy Boy. So the drive fight is potential here for the side of Rib if they want to stay in this game longer. Zebra dying to the sniper on the cart is the worst thing that could have possibly happened, but without a demo, I mean, Rib has no chance of potentially peaking this point now. They just got to wait for the next push potentially, but 3 players down on the side of DK. Those are picks you would normally want to play off of, but no demo. What can you really do?
And on top of that, what's fortunate, Cosmic gets those 2 kills, which completely opens up flank, but no one's there to take advantage of it. Everyone's just funneling in through cart anyway, so those kills effectively don't mean anything because the space they open up wasn't used. Now the team's back up, they're trying to push flank again, but they've got to be in desperation mode now because there's just over 2 minutes. You've got basically 1 Uber on third, 1 Uber on last, and that's all that stands between you and the end of your season. And Brian, though, getting stabbed out. Jacob will be caught out as well. So, number of kills on both sides, but that defensive sniper is gonna be big. Fuzzy's gonna be next. The Uber comes out. The glow sticks from Ness finding body after body thus far. Billy Boy bombing in onto flank, gonna be caught in an awkward position. This should be the cart coming up. That gun goes down eventually. And it's last chance saloon right now for the side of Rib. They've got 1 minute 40 left to cap left. If they lose, this match continues. If they don't, or if they win, excuse me, the match continues. If they lose, that's the end of their season.
Zach happens to get kill Pibble immediately.
They're getting so forward.
Oh, Fungus!
One's down, Fuzzy and Blake. That's gonna give them the ad that they so desperately need to come back into this. That is such a great call from Rib, just getting forward. Even with the gun, they don't let it stop.
That's exactly the situation that Rib wants to be in, is get that med pick. With the advantage, all they have to do is 1 successful Uber push to secure the round to keep them in this game longer. Ubers are getting built here. As long as Zebra doesn't die to a sniper here potentially, like he did in the last couple pushes, it will be really good. They do kill Jacob though, so that's already a great sign for the side of Rib. But they end up using through big door, straight through, landing onto the spawn door. However, not getting much pick with the Uber. They're hiding in spawn as DK knows they only have 50 seconds to hold it. They have to keep their numbers alive and re-push the cart as immediately as possible. Damar getting the pick on the 2K is huge. Flying from Damar triple.
Cart's so close, they're just gonna write it in.
Oh.
Rib able, backs against the wall to extend their season. We are 1-1 here on Vigil. The comeback could start now.
I mean, that was perfectly played from Rib, honestly. They were able to kill Jacob and then take the Uber subsequently after. But for DK, they knew they had to live and then play that flank rotate through big door, and their combo peaks right after. But Tuka getting picked up by Denmark, I think he was just in the wrong position, honestly. He could have been with Triple and Billy Boy there and wiped the cart, but they just didn't have the numbers. Rib capitalized off that and were able to cap the point. I mean, that's just great cap time from Rib, though. They kept that ×4 the entire time, ×3, ×4. It was kind of impressive, honestly. So great on Rib, and they must be so happy that they're still in this game.
Yep, and I mean, logs up, Cosmic coming in at the top of Rib's scoreboard. Someone we've thrown a little bit of shade at in the past, but truly when the season's back is against the wall, coming up big. Zebra as well, even with a couple of deaths, maybe you'd like to forget, coming up with a very solid performance. I mean, really solid all around from everyone on Rib, Denmark, even with the quote-unquote top death coming in, making a lot of space, got that really crucial force on to third, which, let them pull off that, I wouldn't exactly call it miraculous, but definitely improbable last cap.
Yeah, I think it's definitely possible there. Like you said, it's not impossible, but I think the Uber didn't really get a lot of value, but what it did give them is cart time, and it gave them a lot of space on last. The gap that they were missing for Rib's gap, they were missing that push, was the flank, which was Triple and Billy Boy finding a lot of damage and kills there. But I noticed that DK wasn't capitalizing off that timing that they had, and they were kind of hiding out and spawn for too long. And I can guarantee you there were a lot of calls saying peak cart and then fight the cart together, but it just wasn't really met with anything. Especially since that pick onto Tuka from Damar, I keep bringing it up, was so important because we all know the heavy playing from flank onto car is so hard to deal with, but they found it and capitalized off that immediately. And honestly, I think it was just DK's time there to play aggressive and stance up and block at them, but they kind of just hid. I keep saying it, like I'm just repeating myself at this point, but that really was the difference there, is that they were hiding. Their third hold compared to their last hold looks so much different, right? Their third hold looked so aggressive. They were fighting the parts of the map they needed to. They weren't peeking Cliff, but they were able to deny Cliff, denying that soldier from getting behind. But last, they just didn't have a hold whatsoever. Even with this ad, you still have to kind of play that hold. And yeah, obviously Zebra played that amazing as well. He was able to stay in and get the damage and picks that mattered the most to secure his team the round. And I think that was a lot of Zebra that game. He kind of top fragged on his team, didn't he? Almost top fragged, actually. If we're looking at the logs here, I think Cosmic played amazing on that half. So shout out to Cosmic and Zebra.
And I want to point out, too, that for a lot of teams that have trouble pushing Vigil last, I think there's a number of different approaches you like to take it, but when you manage to get that Uber ad, what you just saw, I think, is why it's so important that you take those ad Ubers up through tracks, right? Be it through tracks itself, be it through Big Door, be it through Red Room. When you take that ad Uber up through tracks, what it does is it buys you the space you need to cap, right? Payload is ultimately an objective game. It's about taking space, not about getting kills. Obviously, getting kills will lead to taking space, but if you take the Uber up track, you secure the actual cart area. The counter to it, right, is to kite into that flank area, but when you do that, you give up all control over the objective. You're safe, yes, you're not getting any kills, but the offense doesn't need kills. They need you to not kill them on cart. And that's exactly what happens. Sometimes, right, teams are going to be able to kite into that flank area, and then they have enough time to wrap around, start fighting flank. The offense isn't expecting it, and you manage to pull it out. But as you said, right, Denmark getting that massive kill onto Tug on the flank, not letting him, rain down bullets from up top. The rest of the team had people waiting, watching in Big Door for the flank to come around. So even though they don't get any kills in the Uber, it sets up their position to get the cart in and win without needing to win the Uber fight. If you take that Uber in through flank, right, what happens is they do the same thing, but now they're kiting to the area, to like the defense's left side, offense's right, and they can still shoot the cart from there. If you take that out Uber in through flank, you getting no kills means you lose. because now your combo is completely cut off from your cart push. The defense is exactly where they need to be to stop the objective. By taking that Uber up through tracks, you buy yourself the space you need to win.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I remember there was a time in Vigil history where people would take their Ubers, teams would take their Ubers through flank side, and I feel like that's just not the thing that teams do anymore. Because, like you said, with that cart being where the Uber is, they've already cleared all that space for the Uber and the cart players, right? So honestly, all they need to do is just take that cart in, which is exactly what they did, and it was beautiful. Honestly, cart players should also recognize, like, even though I have free space here, you could definitely get flanked. And that is what happened, so if they recognized that flank sooner, it would have been a lot better. But nonetheless, we are in the next round here. Getting that little cheeky pick onto Mujet. Again, that's just kind of a whatever pick at the start of the game here. But I don't know if you've noticed, but they're not doing the 4-hold on this first hold.
Yes! I am the change that I want to see in the world.
I don't know if they heard the cast or they were just doing it for the sake of they understand how bad it is. Yammer on the parachute, by the way, is so funny. But he ended up not dying and getting a little bit of spam off the gun, being wrangled instantly and letting Rib just take first. I think they recognize we have to have a good second hold, and this is what they decided to do. This is, honestly, this is exactly what I would have called too.
Look,
it's completely right.
Thus far, every team has been disadvantaged on second. Be it through not having the gun, be it through not having an Uber, right? We've seen second holds come through. Not because of the fact that they backed out successfully from the first hold, but they played well enough to overcome those disadvantages, right? This is a time now where they have everything they need. The level 3's up, Blake has Uber. Yes, it's only a 46 seconds to capture first, but they're banking that they're going to be able to hold second better enough to make up. Sacks are coming in right now. They're going to find some kills onto Brian, onto Pickle, but way more kills onto the offense. Blake does get forced at the end there. That's going to be big.
Yeah, Pibble actually is in spawn with 100% Uber, and I feel like they knew the sack was going to come in so much long ago for the side of DK, but they still got forced towards the end there. So good for Rib, but kind of on the bad side for DK. But with Rib having advantage, we need to see how they take this Uber uphill. They just walk it uphill. Conflict find a kill onto Pickles immediately, but then Jacob killing Jet here as Zebra good damage onto the side of DK's combo. As DK's combo are kind of hiding, even with Banner, they aren't able to peek out too wide, and the card time from Ness and Berto is great here on the second push. There is going to be a push attempt coming in for DK to hold the cart. However, Berto is able to trade with Berto, and Chuka dying right after. Berto played that beautifully, able to get that cart time and stay alive towards the very end. And honestly, that was the best push we've seen so far in a second push. Even with that early first cap given, Riv capitalized with the sack, with the Uber exchange happening after, and are able to get the cart. So that was exactly, Riv is on the kind of upward trend here, and I like what I'm watching.
Yeah, really well executed sack there, gets them the app, and then they convert it on the first push. So Brian gonna take out Mujit though, could buy some space here to stabilize on second. Pickles though gets taken out by Denmark. It's been a menace on this offense. Will get the force out from Blake, continuing to keep ad in favor of Pibble. Rib looks like a new team right now.
This is exactly why I voted Denmark as... Oh my god, Triple finds it. I was just gonna say, oh my god. I was gonna say, this is why Damar, I think, is the rookie MVP of the season. He's doing such insane work for Rib. However, Triple is doing the exact same thing on his own team to find that Pibble kill. And honestly, Triple finds those entries.
Invite rookie, big up and cover.
No, not a rookie, but like, he's honestly ultimately, he's kind of an unk at this point. We gotta call Triple an unk. Can we just say how much of an unk Triple is in chat, please? I definitely agree he is. But again, Rib starting this fight with a pick onto Pickles and Tutuka. Cosmic not alive to call for his team and get those picks. However, Rib gets the cart for free up the hill. Basically for free. Blake having that advantage, but can't get the Uber in time to hold off this hold from Rib. Rib with an exciting third drive fight there, just getting the card up basically for free. And I can tell DK is so nervous right now. Brian finding the kill onto Ness, but
so
look how forward they are.
They've got the mini up, chalks on the head glitch. That's what we said. That's the kind of key to snowballing into last, is maintaining that control, forcing the defense to play on the flank side, denying them the actual space on track. But Jacob, massive stab onto Chalk. Mujet getting snagged up by Brian. Another one for Brian onto Funk. And that's going to be any attempts at a snowball. Melted down and snuffed out. As, you know, 3 minutes through third, basically can't ask for anything better than that. But it doesn't look like they're going to get the immediate last push.
Yeah, I thought there's a lot less likeliness that teams are able to get that push on last with that much space. It usually ends up pretty bad for them. But this time, Pibble is alive, and they have Ubers even for both teams. Zebra and his combo are taking the flank of DK away from them and trying to spam that gun the best they can. However, Brian is finding picks where he can, and Jacob finds one as well into Danmar, so being on the flank is a little bit scary for the side of Rib, but they are going to pressure the gun and get it. Ujet does lose that SVS2 Brian. He's not buffed. He's no one playing with him there. Uber does get popped by the side of Rib, though, into the last. DK is going to respond with a counter of Uber. However, they are going to kite towards Big Door as Rib just decided, let's just exchange and play this post-Uber fight.
They get the flash up to Billy as well, keeping him alive. That's too big for that battalion if they're able to get it off later in the round. But Mujin onto Pickles opens things up. Danmar as well onto Triple. Sentry goes down, so they can start pushing hard right now. Billy gets taken out. Banner will not be an issue for the offense. They're collapsing and choking out Dumb Kids. The card is up the hill. They're walking forward. Chalk's riding his chariot into the cap. 507. And it's not over yet, but Riv showing they do not want their season to end. They want to see the light of what happens in map 3.
God, I love watching this resurgence and the revival of Rib on Vigil. I mean, we are watching great things from Rib. 5 minutes, it's insane on a map like Vigil where the last hold can be so hard to break, and even the second hold, but each point looks like not even a problem. There's 2 points in 2 minutes for Rib, and this is exactly the match we all signed up to watch. I mean, Danmar is so good, guys. So big ups to Danmar. I'm gonna keep saying it because this guy is an insane talent on Soldier.
No, I fully agree with you. I was joking about the triple rookie thing, but Danmar is easily the biggest surprise I think this season. I mean, I'm not sure if you saw the brute match earlier in the season. Danmar was, I mean, shadows of Muma on Soldier in terms of how much he was just terrorizing DK.
Shout out to Muma. That's a crazy fucking reach.
I feel like Muma was the one who like really pioneered the whip bomb feed Soldier logs don't show space made.
I definitely remember Muma on Soldier, don't worry, but yeah, no, great stuff from Rib there. As we start the defense for Rib, they only have 5 minutes and they are doing the forward hold. This could mean everything, okay? If they die on the forward hold, they could be on their third or their last. If they keep this forward hold going, we can just have a map end on second point. We really don't know, but Zach coming in from both teams. Zebra gets the sticky debt on the demo midair. He trapped, denying this bomb. The force still happens. We do not play into the Spencer, unfortunately, like Blake was doing, but you know, we give up the first hold immediately, it looks like, as we got our med force, but all in all, we are reading the situation pretty well for Rib here, and Rib is playing this on the fence hold. Maybe they can potentially hold this with the gun. They still have Bill, and Jet is still alive, so maybe if they get a kick on the Brian, this is still holdable.
Alright, so now that the gambit here, right, is that you're able to hold this long enough that Dibble's able to rebuild you. And if you do that, then you're truly in a good spot. The gun is a little bit forward, though. It gets taken out. You know, the cart's getting close right now. The flank is still being held. Billy and Pickles go down. They get the Uber out of Blake. That's exactly what you're looking for from this kind of passive first hold. You know, they don't want to get forced immediately. They do, but they're able to salvage it out. And I mean, really, I'd say that's the best the team has backed out of first thus far, right? Not only do they have at least a level 1 up, they have an ad.
They even shaved off 1 minute and 10 seconds of that time, so not only were they able to keep the advantage by forcing Blake and holding that passive hold for long enough, they were able to get time and be in a better situation on the second hold. However, DK are getting so super aggressive on this hill, and you know, Rib knows they might have to get forced here in order to save their team. So hopefully they do take an Uber at some point, or they lose Birdo, they lose Cosmic. Tuka is on cart pretty much for free here, uncontested, but Chalk is getting pressured right after. There's no Uber happening on the side of Rib. You saved out that Uber for no reason. They're just wiping here, getting ready to hold third. This is not the right situation, man. We got to be using these Ubers, but 2 up on the side of Rib. This is catastrophic, Alto.
I'm not sure what the thought process is there, I'm going to be honest. You have the Uber, your engineer has a glow stick, takes out the engine, he's not getting beamed. Yes! Fully aboard Alamo! Right here, it is El Paso on third.
Oh my god, Jacob
Oh, Jacob,
now
no,
with the
Jacob,
Zebras,
no.
he gets it onto Mujet, and he's gonna get picked up, but Ubers are still in play for both teams here, but Nets saving the round, honestly, right there. It was huge. Rib is going to have an exchange here. Blake uses first. People counters with that Uber herself. Uber is exchanging. Blake might be caught in this Uber, actually. He's getting bounced back by Fungus. Fungus, he does, and he ends up dying. Oh, the fight is not over yet. Chalk ends up dying, and Cosmic, and Danmar. So DK does have picks to play off of. Tuka being 1 HP. Rib with Beam will be able to live as much as possible here.
He's got the level 2 behind the gun. That could be a menace. Jacob gets the gun out. Carson's pushing. Even with them finding Blake, They just don't have the presence. Rib, after such a Mujet taking his own self-defense into his hands, but after such a miraculous offense, they find themselves 2 minutes left on last. Basically a complete mirror of the time through third right here. Slight
no Ubers in play though.
Is pretty much all they've got going for them, but it's just going to be a straight up slugfest for the past 2 minutes here.
Yeah, the pick on Mujet does stall them just a little bit of time for DK to push around, but they are not going to find anything. And Chalk actually finds Billy Boy on a huge flank, almost gets more, but Brian, locked and loaded, kills Chalk through the big door onto the red room.
Walking up flank. Oh no, he gets
time from two. Will he gets Berto.
Takes him out anyway.
1 HP eating a sandwich in the corner. Will he be found out? Berto, oh, Yamar definitely knows, but is he going to kill Tuka? I don't think he will.
Punch him down!
Okay, he gets whipped. All right. 4 players down on Rip, though. Exchange does happen on both teams here. Tuka and Jacob are dead, but with so many players down on the side of Rip, all comes down to is that post-fight from the side of DK, but a banner just get popped by Jamar, potentially giving them enough space to hold this. Ness with the glow stick again, kills Brian. Gameplay is immaculate from Ness here. Jacob gets to pick on the Chalk, but with everyone alive on the side of Rip, that is... The car is getting up so much, but Cosmic just has to get on the car. Tuka's on the head glitch spot. Rip is countering with the pressure. They get to pick up the heavy. They stop the car. It's just cars on the car, but the spotters are in big door. Berto saving the round as much as he can.
Just saved his Mujet just saved his scout from Jake. Oh my god. Jacob was a menace in that fight, finally put down by Mujet. He will go down himself, but it's enough to stall out the car. It's up the hill. Pibble has not started healing anyone yet. So slight ad for Blake, but I don't know if he's going to have time to get the flank push coming in. Tuka hits out, low goes down. Danmar's the trade. Jacob coming and finds one onto Ness, will be taken out. Massive trades on both sides. It's flank versus cart time right now. Fungus on the cart getting so much damage. The bodies keep trading, but at the end of the day, it's going to be DK coming out just ahead. Fortressed up in the flank. They will cap with 13 seconds left. I think you're looking at a 5-minute time even. And that is going to be DK taking a hard-fought vigil into the grand finals.
Oh my god, dude. I was clenching in my chair, bro. I was like, oh my god, can Rip do this? Can they make the comeback possible? I mean, the third round was so close. It came down to 16 seconds towards the end there. We even had a quick fix spawn from Pibble. We had a 9-man pushing from flank almost, and just Mujet. Brian was just sitting in big door taking shots. And I didn't even see Jacob when you were talking about him kind of capitalizing on like Rib there and just living as long as possible with Mujet killing him. I didn't even see that, but oh, nice try from Rib there, and GG's to DK. There will be your contending team for grand finals this season, and man, what a great vigil, man. That was some of the most intense vigil I've watched in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard to not think, what if they use that Uber on second? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, 100%.
It figures, right, that they have what I would consider the best first hold we've probably seen in the whole season. And then just, they're too scattered, they're playing too scared. I think they saw what happened when, you know, they knew that they can pull off a good sack, right? You force the med and they were able to convert on that, but then suddenly, you know, they're playing passive scared of the sack, everyone just gets bled out. They move into third, don't really do much with the Uber there either, and then, you know, the valiant last hold on second, or on last, excuse me, but just for not enough to convert. I'm sad, Exile. I'm very sad. I wanted to see upward.
Dude, I know. I casted something similar in sixes where it came down to that one Uber and milking was life or death, and we just did not use there in this match specifically. Like, I think using there just gets you a minute of time by default, doesn't it? I mean, you get the kills, you keep your team alive, and you keep the hold going. Even after they get advantage, it's still holdable, but unfortunately the Uber just did not get popped, and I don't really blame Pibble for holding that Uber, honestly. It really comes down to someone that has a loud enough voice to call the use there, right? And unfortunately, it just didn't go out. So, yeah, unlucky there, but it was well fought, though.
And the thing, too, is what feels bad is it feels like it's Rib's demons coming back, right? Where throughout the entire match, the thing that's really been hurting them is just people dying at inconvenient times, right? They know that Pibble has an ad, right? But neither team has, so the med's playing further back, and in spite of that, you've got key classes who are going over aggressive, getting caught out, and suddenly every time you lose a number, it now becomes a kind of a catch-22, right? Where either you now use the Uber that you saved off of first, buy the extra time, but it's not going to be a great Uber because you're already bleeding people, or you've just got to cut bait and give it up entirely, which, yeah, you keep the ad, but you lose the point.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know. There's like an art form to Ubering, right? I mean, like sometimes you just Uber to keep tempo alive for your team. You know, if you need to Uber to get like a bunch of kills, but not be in a decent situation afterwards, sometimes you just have to do it, right? If you have a guaranteed call, we're going to use like right now, and you get the kills that matter the most and secure that tempo lead for your team, but give them the opportunity to make a decision. That's kind of the call style you want to kind of make, right? And unfortunately, it just didn't get caught. And there could have been just a lack of understanding of that concept, but also for me, maybe people don't do that kind of idea that I would do personally as a main caller, right? But it was just an unfortunate setting there for them to be in. That first hold, we saw the potential of that chicken wire hold. I'm just saying, I like that hold a lot, and I'm on Alta's ship to the end.
I like the flank presence held in with, you know, the combo holding on first a little bit aggressively. You try to get the best of both worlds, right? You try, if your sniper's going off, if your flanker finding kills, you can get a little bit aggressive. We've seen teams hold there, right? And then once the offensive sniper goes down, the red team actually moves up a little bit and starts playing aggressive on tracks, especially if they have the Ubers, right? To me, that I think is the best version of it. But it felt like the teams just got better and better at pushing as the match went on. Regardless of the scenarios, regardless of, you know, who's got what Uber, they both kind of figured out how to push second somewhere in the middle of the second half. And at that point, it was just, you know, pedal to the metal the entire way.
Absolutely. I mean, we looked at the third hold that the Rib had towards the end there was also kind of unfortunate. I mean, remember, they had Uber until the very end, and Ness saved them the minute that they could have with that glow stick. Dude, shout out to Ness, bro. Even though his team was kind of on the back foot that whole time, he was saving so many different scenarios where he just killed like Brian or Pickles or, you know, Tuca or something like that with the glow stick. It was actually so impressive.
I don't tend to give. I think I've said something similar in a past Rib match. I don't tend to give a lot of praise to NGs that aren't hyphen. I think, you know, kind of unfortunate nature of the class. Ness is someone that I've been consistently impressed by in terms of just like the decision making and knowing when to, you know, stay alive, kind of contribute that passive engineer value, and when to say, all right, buckle up, we're going in. You know, I think like last season we saw the Lucky NG win invite, and I love that because Lucky was buckling up and going in at every opportune moment, a man after my own heart. Ness, I think, has a little bit more discretion, and it works really well and leads to some really good moments, despite not. You know, the Lucky NG had a lot of highlights, had a lot of lowlights too, of just kind of wandering into the enemy combo. And, you know, it comes with the territory, right? But I think Ness is really, when he chooses to get aggressive, it almost always yields really big moments.
Absolutely, yeah. Shout out to Ness that match, and I'm gonna keep glazing Danmar. He's good. Cosmic played very well though, for Rib in those last couple of rounds. I think Cosmic was a huge winning factor for their team. Like the swing percent for Cosmic there was ginormous compared to like Jacob even. Like he was finding so many game winning picks on that second round that they were playing, or second half that they were playing, that kept them in the game longer. So I think everyone on Rib should be happy about their performance today. And moving forward, please, I'm going to say this with so much confidence, but I'm kind of a victim of this too. Let's keep our teams alive, guys. Next season in the summer is going to be as competitive or even more as this season. So let's hope Rib is looking for new heights, new peak of the mountains they want to kind of witness, right? So, but other than that, GG. And remember, tomorrow we have a match of the season, Grand Finals, Witness Gaming versus DK, and I'm going to be super excited to watch that.
Yeah, no, I think Zag should be back on for that one tomorrow, so we appreciate you coming in short notice, Exile, as Zag got a bit of a sore throat tonight, and he's saving his voice for the big match tomorrow. But it will be the DK versus Witness Gaming, you know, round 3. We saw DK take the first one, Witness take the second, and now with the season on the line, it will be the tiebreaker between the two of them, as it were. So I don't think we know what maps it's going to be. Witness will come in with that one map advantage. And, I mean, Witness were a very threatening team when they played last time. I think it was that 4-3 on product into the 2-0 on... I'm trying to remember what map it was. I think it was a Vigil.
It was Vigil.
Yeah, so could be very interesting to see what the maps are, see what ends up happening. And I mean, I think we'll see how the difference in demos will affect that matchup as well. It wasn't enough to change it. I think this match actually has the exact same score as the first time these two teams played in playoffs, a 4-1 on Koth followed by a 2-1 on Vigil. I definitely think this one was a little bit closer for Rib, though, at least on the stopwatch. So we'll see how things turn out. But yeah, you're not going to want to miss it. It's going to be a great match, and that'll be in exactly 22 hours from now, pretty much. So.
Yep, absolutely. I'm gonna definitely be watching that. You wanna make any shout outs real quick, Alta?
Shout out. I'll follow you up with a shout out on Denmark. I did not have high expectations for him coming into the season, and he very much has proved me wrong, much to my delight, as he's been an absolute joy to watch. And I think one of the main factors of why Rib has been such a fearsome team this season. So I truly think it's been, to me, a long time since we've had like a big up and coming soldier player that's been really good. Billy Boy is probably the last one I can think of, and he's kind of been around Invite enough now that the newness factor has worn off. So it's great to have it because it feels like it's a class that hasn't had as many up and comers as others in past seasons. So Danmar holding it down. Looking forward to what he does in the future.
Absolutely. Yep, shout out to Danmar, shout out to Rib, and shout out to GK for this amazing match. I guess I'll do our closing out statement here. Thanks to everyone for watching today. It was our lower bracket finals match for DK and Rib. DK will be playing in the grand finals tomorrow versus Witness Gaming at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, so make sure you guys stay tuned to that. My name is Exile. We had Alto as casting with me and Dolphin as our production, and I would like you guys all to show yourself tomorrow at 9:30. And thank you, and good night.